We're live with a potentially amazing or terrible idea that we've been thinking about for a while.
This may well be the best or worst thing that I've ever done in my life.
We can only hope. Uh, Buena Vista Games. Or however I said that, unless I butchered it in some way, I don't know. Back before, like... That's how you can tell we're playing the PS2 version and not any of the HD collections or whatever, because that would just say Disney. Yep, this is Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix Plus. The PS2 version with, like, the old, like, one of the oldest, English patches. Because apparently, from what I discovered, there were actually two that exist. Though the more recent one I saw, though it is based on what was, like, designed for the HD collection, for some ungodly reason, it also forces, like, a widescreen hack, be it in emulation or on original hardware, but it does not adjust, like, the aspect ratio of the HUD elements. So they, like, if you try and play an actual...
towards the middle.
Yeah, it's like, whether you go 4:3 or 16:9, like, half of it's gonna look wrong. So,
wow.
We're not doing that. We're doing what the original, like, translation patch for this was, and which means you're gonna see a little bit of weird, like, corrupted line text on the top and bottoms of some of the lines, because it was kind of shoddy. Yeah, it was a very late 2000s type of translation patch. But then again, this thing was already in English anyway, so it's not like they did something stupid like retranslated to be more literal or edgy or worse.
Oh god, just Mickey Mouse going everywhere, calling the darkness bastards, like in all the old Dragon Ball Z fan subs.
Yeah, or just any like super try-hard manga translations of Super.
Yeah, we will fight the darkness using the power of Nakama. Translators know Nakama means comrade.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and
it's
also
not the same as friendship, you plebeians. God, what is wrong with you?
Oh yeah, and also, like, as what I've been, like, alluding to, and kind of based on, like, the name of the stream we're going with, we're skipping all the cutscenes. Because, as I've described it in, like, multiple venues, like, experiencing the full story of any Kingdom Hearts game, really, once is only enough. You start subjecting yourself to it on repeat, you start experiencing severe mental damage, so we're not doing that.
Yeah, no, we're doing something funner.
Yeah. That said, we might still, like, leave some of, like, the cutscenes as they start, maybe, like, just a few seconds running, but, like, not too much. Before just skipping and going, alright, back to the gameplay, because, like, I may talk a lot of shit about this game's story, but as I found when I actually played through some of this about a few months ago, playing Critical Mode for the first time, it's actually quite fun.
Yeah, I will say that legitimately Kingdom Hearts 2 is probably one of the best action games on the PS2.
Yeah, best action RPGs at least.
Yeah. So, all that is just, hey, here's a bunch of meandering crap that doesn't actually mean anything, but it's super deep and meaningful, you guys. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
No one really cares.
Alright. We are now in the thick of it, in tutorial land.
And then there's this asshole.
Yeah, Jesse McCartney's waking anime nightmare.
Yeah. So this bit is just basically, yeah, it's the last day of summer. We're trying to work out the 7 mysteries of Traverse Town or something.
There's some crime going on, and I think all of us decided that we are going to form our own Scooby-Doo mystery gang, because we are way into the show.
Yeah, that's right. Things are going missing, so they decide to go all Persona 4, but without the self-harming.
Yeah. Well, that was more 3. or at least, I guess maybe both, but 3 was always the more overt, since you have to actually put a gun to your head.
Yeah, but Persona 4 was the Scooby-Doo gang.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They even had a fox, for fuck's sake. That's as close to a dog as you can get.
Yep. Okay, and now we found the culprit. We gotta beat him up in a Nerf foam bat fighting contest, I
The
guess.
struggle battle.
Always take strength.
Yeah. Take strength, ditch magic. Or
Yeah.
ditch defense. Yeah, when I was playing the HD remakes, I got mixed up and ditched strength and had a miserable time of it.
Yeah. Also, I kind of skipped through it, but it said, like, press X, like, successively to attack. You can tell that, like, whoever did this original translation just lifted the original US version of Kingdom Hearts 2 for this, even though it's circle to attack, because we're in Japan.
Yeah.
It's real funny. It's even more ridiculous when you get to, like, some of, like, the special tutorial screens, and they are just left untranslated.
God, I don't even want to think about those.
Yep. So, yeah, we beat him up.
Yeah, so the struggle is basically Thunderdome for children.
Yeah.
Two teenagers enter, one teenager leaves, the other one follows him with his broken teeth. And then shit got weird, and this spooky, floaty, not Slender Man dude has done things.
Yeah.
Yeah, the beginning of this game is just... It's very bitty. There's lots of random things going on. But he's taking us to this mansion, so now we need to, beat the shit out of him, except we can't because he's all floaty and shit.
Yeah. We can kind of get him mixed up. Oh, hey! DMR Eternity, thanks for the follow.
Hey.
Hope you are not too off-put by whatever mess this ends up being. Okay.
So, yeah, after all that, shit ain't doing nothing, but then we get Keyblade. Because reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny to just, I guess just a little bit behind the scenes stuff regarding, before setting the stream setup. I hadn't, when I loaded this ISO onto my PS2, I briefly, started up, like, the first hour of the game, but, like, on, proud difficulty, so just to kind of get a reminder of, like, what it was like on with the regular sort of balancing, as it were. And going back to critical now, it reminds me again why, like, I actually find this mode very fun. It's like, oh yeah, the glass cannon aspect is legitimately great.
Yeah, critical's actually balanced, whereas proud mode just wants to make you suffer.
Yeah. Saving the memory card too, because the one I have in slot 1 is a third-party 128 megabyte card.
Ooh.
And, like, it works well with all the other games I have, except Square Enix, I guess, programmed it so specifically that it's like, you're either going to save it to an official 8 megabyte card, or you're going to save it to a third-party one where you have not already used up the initial 8 megabytes. It's super bizarre. I have no idea why. Thankfully, I have both. It's a good thing I have multiple cards to work with.
That shit's still better than what happened with Soul Calibur 3.
Oh,
What's that? You want to delete a single file on your memory card? Congratulations, the entire fucking thing's corrupted.
God, that's right. It did have that save bug. That was real rough. It's a good thing I never got into Soul Cal 3.
I got it day of release and swiftly began to regret it.
Yeah, like many
think
people
I
did.
Yeah, I think I still have one memory card specifically devoted to Soul Calibur 3 and nothing else, because after putting like 60 hours into that with friends to unlock everything, I am not in any way getting rid of that shit.
Yeah. So anyway, after solving the mystery, we actually need to do some part-time work in order to have some more fun before summer's over. Because we've apparently been doing jack shit for the last month.
That reminds me of being a teenager.
Yeah.
And because, this is like because Rox is as cool as all hell, he has to do 6 flip tricks on his skateboard.
And struggle to deliver a letter to a fucking bird. I hate that bird's placement. It's always so difficult, because it's like... especially because of the grind rail right before it. You'd think you'd be able to do this like as Tony Hawk, where it's like, oh, you get speed on the rail and then jump off it for big air. No, it doesn't work like that. This is like a... This is a half-baked mini-game that is somehow even sub, like, Evolution skateboarding.
Oh.
You all know what I'm talking about when I say that, say those words.
Yeah, like, really, if you're using the skateboard for anything other than just getting from point A to point B, you're still asking too much of it. It's quicker to just run.
Yeah, and also we have to do a very inefficient method of, like, pushing something up a hill. Don't ask questions.
Yeah, there is, like, a trick to making sure that you get it perfectly, so you get the best rewards, but who cares?
Yeah,
it's another minigame,
which I think I'm kind of fucking up the timing on, because I initially thought, oh, it's going to be a reaction command. But no, you have to hit it, and I was not locked on, so our payout's going to be pretty lousy.
Yeah, you have to do the jump attack very, very precisely.
Yeah. Jump attacks, in general, more practical than doing regular ground combos.
Yeah.
Like,
especially once you start getting the combo extenders.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing, like, in the early game. Though I'm gonna do that again, just because I know I could do it faster.
Yeah. I think in this version, or the HD edition, where if you do all of them, like, as quickly as possible, you get a bonus as well.
I think it's based on... It was in the original, but it's the idea that, like, you earn X amount of money, and it gives you, like, certain, like, extra bonus items. Because after earning just a little bit of money, we could actually just go up to the train station and just, like, get this over with, which I'm kind of tempted to do, because getting a lot of money for all the bonuses is kind of time-consuming.
I think it's 400 or 500 that you need in total.
Maybe. We'll at least try going to, like, 500 money on our end. I'm pretty sure maybe, like, the actual amount we need to get to is somewhere, like, above 1,000. Now, this one, Grandstander, is, like, kind of annoying, and I'm probably not gonna bother trying to do it more than once. But obviously, you can see what I was talking about, where some of, like, these tip screens are still left in Japanese. It's real silly. So yeah, this is what Roxas is expected to do as a teenager in, like, in this bizarro town.
Yeah, just perform for the townspeople, you monkey.
Yeah.
I did not remember this game being this annoying, but then again, I don't remember this game.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I, at some point a while back, if not during my last critical mode playthrough, then at the very least, like, when I played it way back in the day, I only played it just enough to see like how many hits I needed to get the maximum amount of money, and then never again. Like, it's honestly, I think it's actually the fastest just to do mail delivery repeatedly, because it's just a straight line. So let's do that.
And then they give you $30 as a sort of a congratulations / pittance.
Yeah, and somehow,
like, we feel sorry for you. Have some money.
And somehow my triangle button just was not, like, doing those reaction commands in time, so I had to go back. This is being played on an authentic DualShock 2, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually a pretty neat story about it, though, is that this was something that was actually given to me from a friend from work who's kind of similarly into, like, retro game stuff like I am. And he ended up, like, a while back ordering, like, just a big box of, like, DualShock 2s from, like, Yahoo auctions in, like, varying condition, and then proceeded to, like, do maintenance on them using different parts to kind of fix them up. And the final result of those he gave to me.
I need to get a new DualShock for my PS2. I think the one which I've got is on its way out.
Yeah.
And I haven't used it in forever.
Yeah, if you have not used it forever, that also means you have to deal with, like, the sticky residue on the thumbsticks. But this one is actually pretty good. The only thing that's, like, maybe not entirely the best is like how the face buttons and D-pad feel, just because they're... Because as we all know, DualShock 2 was designed with pressure-sensitive inputs in mind. An amazing feature utilized by such wonderful gems as the Bouncer, and also some Metal Gear games, I guess. But they require a lot more give in order to reach the maximum pressure, which I feel for those games I mentioned is actually kind of to their benefit. Because in Metal Gear's case, I don't have to worry about accidentally slitting a dude's throat in CQC. And I can actually do something resembling combos in the Bouncer.
Yeah, not that much fun playing that on a PC.
Yeah.
I guess arguably not that much fun playing that game.
Well, yeah. You're not in it because you think it's an amazing game. You're in for it because you think it's a, in air quotes, amazing game.
You're playing it because it is Nomura as fuck.
Yeah, and Dream Factory.
It's Kingdom Hearts before Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts 0. It's funny we're talking about the Bouncer, considering this motherfucker right here's got a Dog Street shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he seems okay with cactuars, so I'll let it slide.
Mm-hmm. That's really what Twilight Town was missing, like more anti-cactuar propaganda. Anyway, we got 510 money. Let's just call it quits. I know our rewards for this isn't going to be like super good, but who cares?
I think it's just like a slightly fancier accessory you get, isn't it?
Yeah. The only like big thing I know to go for is obviously winning like the struggle tournament in a couple days.
Yeah.
Because I know like that reward actually changes depending on whether you win or lose the final round.
Yeah, I think losing the final round gets you the best item.
Really? I always assumed that it was more practical to get the to win it. Oh well, but I guess all we got from that was just the money pouch.
Yeah, that's just like, hey, we've got money.
Yeah.
Oh, dark things are occurring.
Yep. Dark things we are not privy to. Also, welcome. Glad to see you stopping by, Raph, for this madness.
Hello.
Yeah. KH2, critical mode. Skipping cutscenes, save for the first couple seconds of each, just to give you a glimpse of what might actually be before we skip it and summarize it in a more sane manner, or just come up with something else.
Yeah, this is a spoilers off territory.
Oh yeah. Mentions of other Kingdom Hearts games may or may not come up because we're cursed, I guess.
Yeah, Christopher Lee is actually Sora's dad. Who saw that coming?
Yeah. Amazingly disappointed at just how like his son turned out.
I was one of the most celebrated actors in all of the world. What's this shit?
And now I am forced to wear these red bandages over my face. Who designed these costumes?
But at least I still have my sea sword. It's just the way he says that. It's like the gravitas of delivering just the dumbest lines in this game.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
True. Okay. So we seem to have started Kingdom Hearts 1 again.
Oh boy. Because it was fun enough the first time.
Yeah. I already took the offense boost in the beginning, but I'm pretty sure like it's beneficial here to take the defense here. You think Dracula would be allowed in, speaking of Lee, use the power of public domain? Yeah, and that is an extra good point he brings up. And what should be public domain is already here. Thanks, Disney's corpse.
Yeah.
No, wait, I got that mixed up. Thanks, Disney's severed head held in a vault underground.
Underneath the Magic Castle, if rumors to be believed.
Yeah. Okay.
So, we got a Keyblade again, so literally no reasons given as to why this may be so far. But then again, it was a huge thing when this game came out that you weren't playing Sora to begin with.
Yeah, and back then people were like, "Why am I not playing as Sora?" But then in hindsight, you go, "Man, I wish I was playing as this guy more." And that's why they made a whole DS game for him.
Yeah, literally when this came out, people were like, "What the fuck is this Metal Gear Solid 2 bullshit?"
It's the reverse MGS2, if anything, because otherwise it would have just started with Sora.
Yeah.
That's the real dumb part.
But yeah, the weird thing is people were like, you know what? Roxas is actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
He's less embarrassing.
Yeah, because it's like... The way I'd always summarized it, even as far back as 2007, the difference between the first two games was like... In the first game, you know... Sora had common sense, Goofy was a dumbass, and Donald was Donald. In Kingdom Hearts 2, Sora's a dumbass, Goofy has common sense, and Donald is still Donald.
I mean, like, literally every plot point gets worked out by Goofy.
Yeah.
They're like, I wonder what we should do. And he's like, well, maybe we should go and take the fight to their base and kick them right in the jimmies. And they're like, why didn't we think of that? Like, good fucking question, Sora. Why didn't you think of that?
No one takes the only single father in Disney history seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, yeah, he's not only which, by extension, again, shows that he is also confirmed canonically the only main Disney character to have ever fucked. You don't know what Mickey and Minnie have done. And you also don't know what Donald and Daisy have done. Goofy, meanwhile, has the proof of that.
Oh, yes. If we get that far, we are not skipping that cutscene.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, I know exactly what you're referring to. We're gonna let that play out several parts from now, because, again, like, I played this before on Critical, like, months ago, skipping all cutscenes, because... Not only was my first time to get familiar with it, but I also wanted to figure out how long it would take to go from the beginning to beating the final boss for the first time. Because Final Mix obviously establishes that there's a lot more bonus stuff that unlocks only after you beat Xemnas at the end. And I'm pretty sure that took about maybe like 20, 25 hours? So yeah, however many weeks out from when we start this, we'll let that cutscene play in full, and that'll be the only time you get context.
I think that's almost exactly the halfway mark, because it's right before you do the rebuilds.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
When we get the siege, and suddenly everyone knows the true face of war, and it's Mickey Mouse looking pissed.
Yeah. Now I'm just thinking about Disney characters in like Full Metal Jacket.
Private Goofy, what is your major malfunction? Well, I didn't have breakfast today.
No, it's like, for me, I'm actually specifically thinking there was like a video that was embedded in a tweet years ago. I completely forgot to save it or anything, but it was like the drill sergeant that was played by Donald, and I think that was the most amazing take on that, because Angry Donald is very fitting for an angry drill instructor, and just go.
Yeah. Just him screaming at you and waving his arms, and you being like, I don't.
Yeah.
I am very threatened, but this is not helping me.
And of course, Goofy would be the private Joker in that situation. Is that you, John Wayne? Is it me? And then the one that gets called like Gomer Pyle is obviously Mickey Mouse.
I like you. Come over to my house and fuck my sister. Well, if you're sure.
Yeah. Show me your war face. Oh! You don't scare me. Work on it. Clearly, I am not trying to do a Donald impression, because who can honestly do that? I can't do that. I'm sure you can't.
Oh God, no.
Gomer Pyle is totally Pete. Okay.
Yeah. Back to the game. We're just fighting a bizarre representation of our animals, fears, or something.
Yeah.
Even at this point, the game's like, I don't know, you work it out.
Yeah, QTEs, they're cool, I guess. It was stylish at the time.
Yeah, this is basically his version of the big darkness from the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 1.
Which, if I remember correctly, it was called Dark Side.
Yes.
Which is very funny, just thinking about that. Also, gotta be careful with, like, avoiding this dude's attacks, because I'm pretty sure he can, like, end me for sure, like, in about 4 hits.
Oh, yeah. I'm fairly certain when I played this on crowd mode, he was able to just, like, drop me in, like, one decent combo.
Yeah, and obviously it takes a longer time because, you know, you don't have, like, the extra damage boost that you get here.
And you can't see his health bar.
Yeah, so it's real difficult to gauge where you're needing to... Oh, Jesus. Oh, come on. Yeah, come on, just lower your head first, please. Oh well, but I should also be killing the ads if I'm being honest, because they do drop health orbs. But still, this is cool, and this is the sort of thing where, like, now that I've experienced critical mode of this game, it's kind of stopped me from ever wanting to play any of the other Kingdom Hearts games. Because the ones I've seen that do have critical mode, they don't do it like this does. And it makes me go, what's the point?
I don't know, personally, I would say this is the best game of the series.
Oh, yeah.
Like, 3 tried to be like Kingdom Hearts 2, but it just added too much useless crap, like the transforming weapons and the rides.
A lot of things from what I saw about it very much felt like it was trying to be a composite of all the weird experiments they did in the handheld games.
Yeah. It was like, really, I think they could have basically gone, okay, we're giving you Kingdom Hearts 2, but more of it, and everyone would have been totally happy.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we were just there to see how they were going to land the plane.
Yeah.
The survivors there would be. And yeah, for the most part, they more or less pulled it off. Just...
You could argue they did a better MGS4 than actual MGS4.
Yes.
Which feels insulting to me, because I feel like that should be reversed.
Yeah. It's like the gimmick game with the gimmick topic game manages to be a more cohesive ending than the totally super serious paramilitary spy drama.
Yeah, but I think Wrath has a good summary there. KH2 is the only good Kingdom Hearts game. The bad story is just the funky seasoning.
Yeah. Well, I mean, after, like, in the lead up to Kingdom Hearts 3, no one was like, this is going to be a brilliant game. Everyone was just like, how big is the car crash?
Yeah, but also I think it also brings up another good point where it's like, I think, ironically enough, there's actually, like, more distinct memorable moments in MGS4 than there were in KH3. Which is not to say 3 doesn't have some good, memorable stuff to it. It's just kind of more backloaded towards the end. But they don't have. I was about to say, well, I guess maybe my point would still stand that, like, even though there's, like, weird, like, toy mechas you could pilot in the Toy Story world, that still doesn't come close to Ray versus Rex.
Ray versus Rex is one of my favorite bits in any game. Full stop.
Anytime I get to that moment, I am, like, morally, contractually, financially, whateverly obligated to pull up the in-game iPod and play Beyond the Bounds when I fight and draw out the battle for the entire length of the song.
I was just really disappointed that we couldn't get Rules of Nature in it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way to add your own music because Rules of Nature would have just been the cherry on top.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, time for the big Nerf Bat Battle tournament.
Yes, let's smash in the head of a small child.
And also Vivi.
Yeah.
Voiced by, I'm pretty sure, like the granddaughter of Walt Disney, actually.
Melissa Disney, yeah. She
Yeah.
actually does a really good job of it.
Yeah.
Which is just mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm. And it's fitting. I mean, like, Vivi was always kind of like a cute-looking character, even though, like, he's very much, like, the design is just straight up taking the classic Black Mage look.
Yeah, I think Nomura was reluctant to have him in the game because he didn't want to have any characters that he didn't have a hand in designing.
Right.
And they were like, nah, fuck it, go for it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
yeah.
catch you later, Raph.
Yeah, you have a good one, man. Time to give a concussion to our best friend. who may or may not be kind of a dick. I don't know. He kind of comes off that way in some ways. Ow. Just as long as we have more orbs in our possession, then...
I hope you're okay with this, Pence, but you're going to be held back a grade at the end of this.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, I gotta pay more attention because you can still get knocked out even before you have all your orbs taken. Yeah, like that. God damn it.
Oh yeah, I forgot it does damage.
Yeah. Fortunately, it doesn't count as a game over in this case. It just, yeah, resets the simulation. We're not hiding it. Again. Like, who cares?
We're in the Matrix, except it's a other telephone.
Yeah, and the place is actually based on an actual town, as opposed to being like a weird composite, like, real sounding place.
Yeah, everyone in this is real, but kind of not, but also yes, because Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, Kingdom Hearts, the legendary fanfiction gone awry.
I love how the entire series just came about because Nomura, I think it was Nomura, and one of the Disney execs got in an elevator together at the right time and were like, so, what you doing?
Yeah, because Disney Japan and Squaresoft had their offices in the same building.
Yep.
But I think that better part actually was literally, like, early on in the development that. Hold on, I'm actually gonna try and like let the timer run out so I don't accidentally die. I win anyway, so yeah, fuck you, Pence.
Also, is it just me, or does Roxas's little picture in the health bar look like he's really rocking the eyeshadow?
When he's like in a critical state, or just in general?
Yeah.
I guess so.
I don't know. When he's in critical state, he is totally rocking the guy liner.
Yeah. But yeah, the thing was that I was saying, the other funny part about, like, the story behind, like, that series Genesis was that, like, it was actually gonna be, like, way less about story because, like, the gameplay idea they had after they decided they wanted to collab was to do something like Mario 64, you know? Have it be, like, an actual 3D platformer. But it was, with very little story, but then Sakaguchi, who was apparently still there at the time and trying to make sure that he had an out to do his hip-hop career via The Spirits Within, that he decided, why don't you have a story? Go all in on making the story. We're Squaresoft. Yeah, so you can blame the Gooch for this whole fucking mess that has spawned nearly 2 decades. He made sure to ruin as much of things at Squaresoft as possible before he left, putting out that movie and telling Nomura to go batshit insane with the plot.
Well, that was one of the other things as well, because they said that when they were designing the story, like, they would someone would literally say, okay, so, like, someone would come up with a plot point and be like, okay, so how are we going to resolve this?
Yeah.
And someone else would literally say, we can worry about that in the next game. And that, coupled with the fact that the secret endings all have, like, completely incomprehensible cutscenes. They admitted that they put those in just to make people confused and to get them wondering about what was going to come next. The entire thing was written by the seat of their pants.
Yeah! And yet it garners a subset of fans who are feverishly obsessed with it to the same degree that like Kojima fans are in reading like way more subtext when there actually is none.
Yeah, they've like that, and the fact that like you think that fans have come up with possibly every single possible angle that the story could go in, and they're like, okay, but have you considered this shit?
Yeah.
And it's literally like the one angle no one saw coming, and people are like, oh my fucking god, they did it again.
Those bastards.
You magnificent sons of bitches.
Anyway, everything's been interrupted. Yeah, we were about to... I think we were, like, just momentarily stopped from murdering the small black mage child as we were accosted once again by these freaky white gimps.
Yeah. Like, literally, the game stopped it just to be like, no, Roxas, do not murder the mage.
Well, we had to literally freeze time just to make you not kill him. And oh, hello, Quentin Flynn.
I will say, in the third game, he does have some brilliant scenes. Like towards the end, where he's like, "Oh, come on, you can't kill me off. I'm too popular."
Yeah, and he actually does more like original stuff with his like stupid catchphrase instead of just saying it verbatim, which is a problem that this game has. It really likes to do, like, the same sort of catchphrases almost ad nauseum.
What do you mean, Sora, Donald Goofy?
See, this is another good reason why we're not, Ow. God damn it. Ah. Oof. Yeah, that's right. I should be going into, like, interrupting and doing that. It's real frustrating. Because I'm pretty sure this will count as an actual game over if I do get got.
Oh yeah. I think it just starts you from...
That actually wasn't the case when I did my critical playthrough, like, weeks ago. Or months ago, rather. But because I think it actually starts you before, like, you fight Vivi. Oh, but we still got it anyway, and we got the best ability.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, which reminds me, I also do need to check through my skills and, like, make sure there wasn't any extra things that I did not, like, equip yet. Anyway, hi, Christopher Lee. Bye, Christopher Lee. We gotta sleep things off.
What's up? I'm Christopher Lee. I'm here to steal your shit.
Yep.
Lee, out.
I'm gonna stab you in the back and show you that this is what actually happens when you stab someone in the back with a knife. Peter Jackson. Oh yeah, look at that. I didn't even think to, like, equip all of this stuff beforehand.
Oh.
And I did, like... Oh my god. You can tell it's been a while. But yeah, we got guard, which would have been helpful, now that I think about it.
You've also equipped no experience.
Oh wait, no, yeah, I don't want that off. What am I thinking?
Yeah, no.
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 I only have enough balls to do a regular critical mode playthrough. I can't do critical mode level 1. At least not yet. Or rather, never.
Our neckbeards are not as thick and luxurious enough as to cope with that.
True.
Start talking about revenge values and my brain just runs screaming.
Yeah.
Although the speedruns that they did AGDQ a couple of years back were bloody good.
Yeah.
And hey, look, it's the first and only reminder that Final Fantasy VI exists that Square has done in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Other than relentlessly pimping out the mobile phone ports and that.
Yeah, and pixel remasters with horrible typefaces. Oh yeah, there's that aerial recovery that I was missing, because I was like, why was I not recovering from the air fast enough? That's why. But yeah, this is also the fight I was talking about, where you can actually win or lose, and which outcome happens produces a different item, because he does talk about, you know, just throw the match, let him win, and he'll make it worth your while. And it's like, No, we're too prideful and you know, sucking boomers.
I'm sorry, are we playing Proud mode, or are we playing Super Hyper Was mode, Turbo plus Alpha?
Oh,
You
wait.
know.
Oh, god damn it.
Well, never mind.
Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Thanks for the win, partner.
I'm actually letting this cutscene play if only because I have never seen this in all the times I played. So yeah, that's,
Yeah, get going, kid. Have a consolation prize. It's a chocolate coin.
yeah. Don't eat it all at once.
All his friends are just looking at him like, dude, you suck.
Have some pity claps.
Yeah, really, they should be clapping at maybe 1/3 the speed that they are now.
Yeah. Okay, so this one just increases strength, while the other, I believe, was like a lot of boosts to various like defense elements.
Yeah, let me double check that.
Oh, but somehow we still got the trophy anyway. So
Yeah.
what is even the point?
Yeah, he's just sort of like, I was only in it for the glory, so you know, fuck it.
I actually get it off on beating up kids.
Yeah, the champion belt increases fire, blizzard, and thunder resistance only. So yeah, the medal is the better of the two.
Weird.
Yeah, nothing to defense, no extra abilities, no strength, none.
Yeah, but at least it's an accessory and not an armor, so that still leaves room for that.
Yeah.
Okay, but now that the fight's done, we get to go back to being the mystery gang. All we're missing is a dog, though. That's actually what we need to do. We need to find ourselves a dog, and then everything will be complete.
Can we not, like, capture some of the pigeons we've been delivering mail to? I mean, what are they doing? They're just flying there waiting for their mail.
Yeah. It turns out like initially I was thinking what does a pigeon like need a letter delivered to it for, but then I thought, oh wait, no, they're just the mail delivery service we got is like just the proxy. We have to give it to them so they do the real delivery.
What is this, Uber?
The time?
Mm-hmm. Okay, 7 Wonders, let's go.
This is the 7 Wonders, right.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Kranich. Yeah, I posted a link to it, to this stream in there, so...
Oh, thanks for
not
stopping
missed
by,
too much.
Kranich. Yeah.
Not missed too much.
We got beat up by Setzer.
We nearly murdered a small child.
Mm-hmm. We
now-
had a fight with Quentin Flynn and his bad behavior and practices with female fans.
And now we're looking at balls.
Yes. A lot of great context clips that could be formed from this, I guess.
It makes as much sense in context, let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, again, that's why we got the name of this stream here. It's re-context. I even stooped myself to the level of going with like a dumb Kingdom Hearts style naming scheme when I came up with that bullshit.
See, I wanted to call it Kingdom Drunks.
Kingdom Trunks. Well, it's too. Well, I mean, it's not early for you, but it is for me. But even then, if I were to even like explain this stuff, it'd be like I practically straight edge.
No, we should set up like a donation goal. If you get to $100, I break out the fireball.
Yeah.
$100, and you can make this stream even more incomprehensible.
Yeah. Getting revenge on the small children, or the small children, I guess, are trying to get revenge on us for almost beating him. But
I think at this point it counts as outright genocide. Just murdering all these small black mages.
Yeah. black mages that are upset at being told by a king that they have to kill chaos, thinking that it is absolutely stupid that they have to kill some arbitrary concept.
No, we're talking about the being chaos.
Oh, why didn't you say so? I'll get my stuff.
I understand.
Yep. And that's on top of all the other chaos nonsense that has been non-stop ever since June. I cannot wait for Strangers of Paradise. It is so stupid.
Hello, I am here to punch chaos in the face. My name, Chaos McFace. I don't know.
Welcome to Strangers of Paradise. My name is Jack. We're going to fucking kill chaos in the Shrine of Chaos. Hey, thanks for the follow.
Get in the car, loser. We're punching gods.
Cool. Already halfway towards one of the requirements necessary to even hope to have a chance of affiliate status. You need at least 50 followers for that.
Yeah, I know someone who's a VTuber who just got her affiliate status last month.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, she's been streaming. I think she's been streaming for roughly the same amount of time you have. So,
So yeah, like earlier in the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remind me again. Is this one that I would recognize from like that was featured like in the Goon VTuber thread?
Oh no.
Or elsewhere?
As far as I'm aware, she doesn't go to SA.
Okay.
Yeah, she's just been doing her own thing.
All right then.
So wouldn't, technically speaking, Shadow Roxas be Sora?
We're not at that point yet.
Oh, sorry. Spoilers! Oh wait, we don't care about that. Yeah.
Oh well, whatever. I didn't have the big Goron hammer so that I could cheese the Shadowlink fight. Wait, wrong game.
And then Pence comes over and is like, it wasn't a shadow, it was just a large cloud of bees covered in burlap. Perfectly reasonable explanation for it all. And...
Oh no, bees. Surely a sudden influx of bees will solve this problem.
This game is worryingly short of bees. A large cloud of bees will help things move along. Funnily enough, my name on Twitter is Dr. Bees.
Oh,
at least not my actual Twitter.
Oh yeah,
thing,
just the display name, because you can
Yeah.
change that independently of the actual.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, I saw the first Dr. Bees years ago, and it's just like, I really like that name. I don't know why.
Anyway, time to get this dog out of here.
It wasn't spooky. It was just unwanted puppies.
Yeah.
Wait, that's worse.
Oh no.
You get how that works, right?
Oh no. Well.
Hey, maybe this is where we finally get the Scooby-Doo dog.
Maybe. Finally, the mystery gang will be complete.
Oh, he died.
Aww. Doggy! Okay, bye, doggy. I let it play long enough just so you could see it.
Dog looks pretty good for after having had a 14-year-old ride him for 30... Wait, that came out wrong.
Oh my...
You know what? There's no good way to say that, so let's just move on.
Oh yeah, that's right. I need to go back to Sunset Hill, which is where I was at last time, because you could do most of these wonders in any order.
Yeah.
But I always do from, like, this side to the opposite, because it's practically a straight line. Why wouldn't you?
And you always wind up missing one.
I used to, but not anymore, really.
Yeah. To be honest, I haven't played this since the PS3 release. Although I did just get given a copy of the story so far. So I might need to give this a replay soon.
God, that's the one with, like, that mini playable Aqua game, right?
No, that. Oh no, wait, yeah, it is. It's the PS4 collection with everything but Kingdom Hearts 3.
God, what a mess.
I mean, it's perfectly playable. It's totally fine.
Oh, the playable part I wasn't referring to, just all these like crazy collections just to chronicle this insane story.
And it's still missing some of it.
Yeah. But hey, at least you get to play as the best character from Birth by Sleep. The team mom.
Yes, Aqua is best girl.
Yeah.
And then gets completely forgotten about for 22 years.
Yeah. But just as long as she probably forgot Ventus when he left him in that castle.
Yeah, there you go. You just have a nice seat there. I'll be right back. Trust me.
Yeah, son, just wait here. Mommy's got stuff to do.
No, you sit in the funny chair. I'll be right back.
That I am not joking around when I referred to Aqua as the team mom. Like, you could literally refer to the Birth by Sleep trio just give them familiar roles and it would not change much at all.
Yeah, she's the mother. Terra's the bratty older brother, and
I was gonna say the
Ventus
irresponsible dad.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
And Ventus is just the idiot child who's too innocent and too pure for this world.
Yeah, it's a while ago I had seen the entirety of Birth by Sleep for the first time because I was not gonna subject myself to physically playing any of those handheld Kingdom Hearts games. But the thing that I remember sticking with me the most in a way that was clearly unintended by the people responsible for the story was when the three of them reunited Hollow Bastion and they had that boss fight, and they basically are trying to tell Ventus to go home, but this is after he meets Scrooge and gets the tickets to Disney Town, and the reuniting, followed by saying, hey, I got tickets to Disney Town. They're good for 2 adults and 1 kid. And then the argument that happens after is it has the energy of a parent having a divorce right in front of their child.
They're good for 2 responsible adults, so, if you know any.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. All I know are these dumb chuckle fucks who keep arguing over darkness.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Ventus doesn't want to just be stuck living in the same place that freaking Mark Hamill is at. Because he's too boring after a while.
Yeah, but he does get to hang out with, what'd you call him? Oh, fuck, who was it that played Spock? Leonard Nimoy.
Leonard Nimoy, yeah. Rest in peace, man.
Rutger Hauer.
Rutger Hauer, also rest in peace.
Yeah,
how fucked is it that the 2 voice actors they got for the actual true villain of the whole fucking series dies each time?
Yeah, I was so that role's cursed.
Yeah, I guess it's a good thing that they decided to end that after the 3rd game.
Yeah.
Just kick his ass, have Sakaguchi lookalike show up and go, okay, dude, you clearly lost, the game's over. And I'm yeah, it was fun. Peace out, I guess. I'll take my loss with grace.
Yeah, the only thing that really annoyed me about the ending was Erica showing up and being all lol, I forgive you. Let's go off to Keyblade Heaven now. And I was okay, no.
I mean,
how many worlds did this dude destroy?
I mean, I took it less as forgiving and more dude, you lost. Just take your defeat with grace. Seriously, you're being completely outwitted by this dumbass kid and a talking duck and dog.
Well, in fairness, everyone in that game was outwitted by the dog.
Yeah.
There's not a single person in that game who got the better of Goofy. That may be the Rock. That Rock nearly killed him here.
Even Donald's temporary sacrifice with Zeta Flare was close, but did not compare to Goofy's sacrifice.
Yeah, that's the other fucked up thing. By casting Zeta Flare, technically speaking, he's the most powerful mage in all of Final Fantasy.
It's so ridiculous.
Like, Mickey being able to cast Sculpta is, like, right up there, but, you know, no one has been able to cast any of the Z-level spells and live.
Yeah, though it still highlights how even more frustrating that they're still using, like, Final Fantasy terminology for spells, and yet just keep diminishing the roles of Final Fantasy characters as it goes on.
Yeah, that was, like, the one thing I loved more than anything was seeing all the Final Fantasy cameos and crossovers and all that shit.
Yeah.
That, like, just showing characters like Setzer. He hasn't been in a game in like 20 odd years by this point.
Yeah.
By the time this came out. And Vivi was all but forgotten. And they're like, no, we've got some cool guys, you know, we don't just have a boner for Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. But then you get ones that where you feel like that their implementation is still dumb and kind of bad, like Cypher and his cronies.
Cypher, I think, should have had, like, those three should have had a bigger role in the Twilight Town stuff. Because after the struggle, it's like, okay, bye.
I'm just more bothered by, like, Fujin and Raijin literally having the same problem I was talking about, where they stick so slavishly to, like, dumb, like, phrases and ways of speaking that it makes them, like, real tiring to listen to, you know?
Irritating.
Yes, my point was proven.
No, the thing that really annoyed me with those two was that they more or less got Raijin's voice right.
Yeah.
But Fujin, like, everything she says sounds like she's supposed to be barking it in a commanding voice.
Yeah.
And like, our voice actress is just so...
She's so bored.
Yeah.
She's not quite Aerith tier in this game, but she does feel like she gets there at times.
She's as bad as Yuna's voice actress.
In, like, in original FF10.
Yes.
Oh.
Because
yeah, I can hear it now. You are so right.
Yeah, she doesn't, like, I hated her voice actress because there's times in the story where she should be, like, legitimately screaming her head off, and she's just so weak and whimpering, and she can't get her voice above a whisper because her vocal cords are just so dainty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is wrong with you, woman?
Yeah. Honestly, though, I think we could maybe agree that, like, the casting ideas for, like, oh, god damn it.
Oh.
Alright, first continue. At least it put us back in this room, so, hey, nothing lost.
Yeah, I know that the HD version is pretty good about its checkpoints.
Yeah,
so
which I imagine is, like, carried over pretty much exactly from what they had in this version on PS2.
I would assume so, yeah. As far as I'm aware, most of the balancing and so forth was just adjustments and checks more than anything.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like, there wasn't anything major added or taken away or whatever. It was, the majority of it was, like, the majority of articles I remember about this at the time were just, hey, there's like 30 new hours of gameplay in this thing.
Yeah. Plus it's like, when it came to the HD versions, at least like when they first started on PS3, the thing that always still surprised me to a degree was just being reminded that, oh yeah, Square was one of those companies that once again, like back in the day, notoriously just tossing out their source code for every game as soon as they're done with it. And the insane efforts they had to go to just to recreate everything in HD, while still having it be faithful, like actually using the printed ISOs of those games as reference points in order to re-HD them, which is like, if you didn't know about, like, that habit of theirs of just tossing out all the source code for completed games back in the day, it's like, you would think, wow, that's super impressive and very dedicated. But it's like, no, this is literally a consequence of their own short-sightedness and incompetence.
Yeah, there was very few companies up until, like, the mid-2000s who would keep the source code. As far as they were concerned, once the game was done, that was it. storage space is at a premium.
Yeah. And then doing even crazier stuff like just like literally printing out the source code line by line onto sheets of paper.
Can you imagine trying to do that for a Unreal Engine 4 game?
Could you imagine trying to do that for any Ubisoft game?
Oh,
Especially with how based on like some things I've seen here and there from like I think there was like a leak of like one of the Assassin's Creed source codes or whatever. And I'm not a programmer, but I've had like enough experience talking with people and like seeing their code and just knowing like what it's like to compare to that. Nightmarish. Like just in terms of like formatting, structure, literally fucking everything.
I mean, most of their stuff is, in fact, most AAA games these days are essentially done by committee.
Yeah.
So, it's a wonder that they actually managed to get things to line up, let alone work.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like one of the things I remember reading about Valve, for example, was that at no point do they have anyone go through the code and essentially make everything adhere to a single style.
Yeah, because they had their whole idea of like the cabal as like what they referred to their teams as, and having a very fluid structure, which is like that can either work really well for some people or not at all for others, and I feel like I would not really do well with that.
Well, I mean, one of the things that they were famous for was that people could just basically float around and go, oh, hey, this project looks interesting, I'm going to do some coding for that, and then fuck off.
And then not put out the promised third game of your episodic Half-Life 2 games for several decades. Assholes.
Fuck that. I'm still waiting on Left 4 Dead 3.
That and Portal 3. And also, could we maybe get like a new Team Fortress, like a third one, so that we can wipe the slates on clean from just the mess that 2 has become?
Yeah, but you'll get people getting really pissed off if they can't transfer all their hats.
I mean, you could keep the hats, and just like redo like the structure for literally every other thing on there. All the security loopholes and flaws and whatnot, and maybe just go back to something simpler.
Also, going back to the game, we are currently in the middle of playing the world's deadliest game of floor lava.
Yeah. And that was, I think, the smoothest I've had fighting Axel in this arena on Critical. At least at this stage in the game. Because I think
I remember that fight being a lot more difficult.
Yeah. I remember this being a bit more difficult, but I think that's just because I managed to have impeccable timing with those reaction commands to get rid of the lava floor.
Yeah. I remember those being a lot more random as well.
Yeah, but I think also the other part that makes you think it's even harder than you remember is because you also have like that post-game fight with him with all the other Replica organization members.
Oh, yeah.
That one was quite hectic. By the way, I'm not going to do those on stream because I can't even get to those without first beating the final boss anyway.
Beating the final boss, and I think, didn't they say that they were designed for like a level 80 plus character?
Yeah, like very close to level cap, if not outright. Lingering Will is definitely made for level cap, and even then, that feels like it pushes it.
Oh, fuck, Lingering Will. I think I came close to beating him once.
I only could beat him using save states in PCSX2.
Fair. Also, hey, we're Sora again.
Yeah, we got... The main trio is back, unfortunately.
Yes, it is back. Back again. This dumb kid.
Look at his shorts.
Don't like him. Yeah, that's right, he went through a growth spurt.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they never say specifically how old he is. I think he went from like 10 to 13 or 14.
Well, it's supposed to be like a year of time that he's asleep is the thing.
Yeah,
so I think I want to say it's probably just something where he had a massive growth spurt in between going from 14 to 15.
Yeah. Because in the first game he looks like he's like 10, and in this one he looks like he's at least 14.
Yeah, and then you get to stuff like Recoded or Dream Drop, where they specifically use a model based on his KH1 version, and yet grown-ass Haley Joel Osment is still voicing him, and you just feel this incredibly uncomfortable disconnect.
Yeah. On the one hand, I appreciate that he is stuck with the franchise from start to finish. You know, that's that kind of commitment you don't see too often.
Yeah, like, especially, like, that kind of commitment would end up being way more flimsy in other franchises that would stick with it pretty rigidly in Japanese, but their English versions, they don't give a fuck. Here, they actually cared a lot about it. I think the only major one that never came back was Kyrie's original voice actor for 3.
Yeah, that's right. And Mandy Moore as well.
Well, a lot of the original like voices they got, I think, for the Final Fantasy characters in 1 were just outright replaced by the time 2 came around. Because most of them were FF7 characters, and they were like, well, we have Advent Children, let's just reuse those guys.
They also had David Boreanaz playing Leon, don't forget.
Yeah, that's right. Like, I kind of weirdly appreciate the celebrity grabs they went for in Kingdom Hearts 1, and just how it seemed to be, like, a huge widespread. Whereas that net they cast in all subsequent games basically got restricted to, like, very select original characters, you know? Because, like, with Birth by Sleep, like, the notable ones you ended up getting were, like, Leonard Nimoy as Master Xehanort and Mark Hamill as Ericus, or Square Backwards.
They also had Billy Zane as Zemnis, who did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, which...
It's such a shame that he was blacklisted and didn't come back to it.
Yeah, and it's like, Richard Epcar is great. I always have respect for the voice of Bato, but, I mean, like, he does the best job you could hope for trying to do, like, Xehanort Heartless throughout the rest of this series.
I think the thing is, like, Billy Zane managed to do the sort of evil but charming thing really well.
Yeah.
Whereas Richard Epcar just does generic, rough, evil. It works, but...
It feels more anime, is the thing. Yeah. And which makes sense, because he's the voice you hear in anime a lot of the time.
Well, he does, like, 50% of all gruff men in anime these days.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, he's the voice of Bato.
Yeah.
Like all the reasons why you would think about, like, when it comes to Ghost in the Shell, like... The English voice cast, it's always worth it if only you got Richard Epcar as Bato, Mary Elizabeth McGlynn as the Major, and Crispin Freeman as Togusa.
Yeah.
That they are basically the perfect voices for the English audience.
I was actually really surprised that they didn't get Mary Elizabeth McGlynn to do Lady Dimitrescu for Resident Evil 8. Because I would have thought that would have been perfect.
That would, but I guess it kind of lines up with how, like, the voice actors Capcom's been getting lately haven't been, like, the typical talent. I guess they, because with all the photogrammetry stuff they do in a lot of their major games these days, they do try and, well, I guess that's not always consistent, because sometimes they get models that are not actually the voice actors, but they get close, is the thing. Like, I know Carlos's voice actor from Remake 3 voices Chris in Village, and, like, he surprisingly fits.
Yeah, I remember when I was playing it, and he cropped up and was like, wait a minute.
There goes our
Carlos?
ride.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And then Nikolai's voice actor is Heisenberg, who's basically doing a cross between Nikolai and Nick Cage. He has a Nick Cage energy to him, you know it.
I remember saying that telling people that he is as close to Nick Cage in video game form as we will ever get.
Yeah, like you hear him refer to Lady D as supersized bitch, and you can immediately picture Cage possibly saying that to someone in an actual film.
Or screaming, "Shut your fucking hole!" Sorry about that.
Yeah.
And the fact that he consistently refers to Mother Miranda as Mother Miranda.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that's just so endearing.
And all the while he looks like a blood. And all the while he looks like Maximilian dude cosplaying a Bloodborne hunter.
Yeah, that's right. He's Nick Cage playing Father Gascoigne.
Yeah.
Except with a hammer instead of an axe.
Yep. So that was Pete. In a very unfortunate outfit in which the zipper goes all the way from the top of his crotch to the back of his asshole.
That answers so many questions that none of us really wanted to contemplate.
Yeah. I mean,
weren't-
Nomura Fashion
weren't-
Sense will do that to you.
We weren't thinking it before, now we have no choice but to think.
Yeah, you have no choice but to think about Volt's Uggs and his, like, rolled-up jeans that go all the way up to his knees. It's like, where else do you get, like, size 36, 60 jeans?
Oh, and don't forget that Ko's tattoos are all over his body.
And tribal tats, which
Yeah.
can be very unfortunate depending on how you feel about that and where it's been appropriated.
Yeah, it's like, thanks, Nomura, we weren't really interested.
And then you get to
We
the...
would have given anything not to know that, but, thank you.
And then you push yourself through to the end of the game, and then your brain just gives up at the trench coat overalls power move that is Duragon C. Mikado.
Yes!
Who the
Things are getting
fuck
serious.
thinks up that kind of combination? I mean, I know what the answer is, but I'm saying this rhetorically.
Like, trench coat, fine. Dungarees, okay, maybe not for a high-powered executive, but, that can work. Trench coat, dungarees, and a chain. I repeat, a chain wrapped around his arm.
Yeah.
What the living shit.
The bouncer is coming, you guys.
Through hell or high water.
And it's like, it might come sooner than you think, because for a while I was thinking that would be something I'd only ever get to do if I managed to luck in on getting a RetroTink 5X and a new capture card to use it with. But as it turns out, so here's the part of the stream where I like to go into, like, my weird technical, like, jargon talking about for, like, what went on behind the scenes to get this stream set up. Basically, this is probably already known, like, if someone has been seen my streams, like, in the past few weeks, and know that I had done a stream of Time Crisis 3, playing it legitimately with a light gun, because I have a component splitter set up with a distribution amplifier so that I can split the signal to my CRT, which is where I'm playing the game, and then split it the other way to my capture card, which is how it's being sent out to the stream that you're watching. And
for various complex reasons, using a PS2 or PS3 light gun on a flat screen TV is basically impossible.
yeah, it is exclusively made for CRT technologies. And even then, it's like HD CRTs can, like, cause problems with it because those from back in the day had, like, HD signals, like, digital signals loaded on top of it, which was the problem. Like, it needs to be 100% analog. But besides that, the idea is that, like, I have the means to play these games on CRTs, which means I can avoid the issue some games have where they either change to different resolutions entirely, going from, like, gameplay to menus, or in some situations, like in the Bouncer's case, avoiding the part where, like, it drops sync every time it fades to black in between gameplay and, or in-game cutscenes and FMVs. But I noticed something...
Literally, like, every 27 seconds.
Yeah, it's real annoying, and it gets even worse if you're playing something like Klonoa 2, or the N64 version of RE2. But something I noticed when I was testing things again last night in preparation for today's stream was that I noticed that when I just had the setup running and loading up the PS2, I noticed that the moments where I would have expected it to show the no signal screen on Elgato was not actually showing. I think it only happened during the in-between black phase screen space of the free McBoot screen and the PS2 browser. Whenever I went into, like, apps like OPL and then loaded the game from there, it did not drop sync, and I was like, hold on, I need to try the bouncer quickly. I need to see how this handles going from the opening FMV to gameplay, and then back to FMV. And, turns out, handled it just fine. granted, this is obviously being done with an old-ass Elgato Game Capture HD, which is like from 2011 or 12 or something. It's almost a decade old. And it somehow managed to handle that fine.
Wait a sec.
But
How come
obviously,
my
I don't
others
have
are
the
still
benefits
running
that
around?
I think most people would be wanting to see, which is, you know, having an upscaler to more cleanly increase the size of the image. Like, this is still 480p that I had to manually, like, double in size in OBS just to have it fill the screen properly. But the idea is that, like, I still have that donation goal up at the top, which is no longer the slight joke donation goal I had for months, which was $2,500 for Ninja Gaiden 3. But this, I feel, is more practical because it would be a lot more beneficial if I could have a capture card that would record at resolutions like 1080 and higher at 60 FPS, and to have a good quality upscaler, because modern capture cards do not have AV analog out ports anymore. But for the time being, if I so decide to subject people to the majesty of the bouncer, I could do that anytime I fucking want.
Well, look who's here.
And still have it
So
run about
dumb
exactly
and
as I would
goofy.
need it to. Without the constant sync drops.
Yeah, the game will run well. Still doesn't play great.
Well, I mean, to quote Dr. Agro of I guess, like, on various Gigaboots videos and podcasts during their Giving the Bouncer a Chance video, an amazing case for demonstrating the qualities of the bouncer, he goes, "I don't think this game is good, but if you don't like this game, then I don't think you're good."
I mean, don't get me wrong, I still own a copy of it. I put it on the same level as shit like Drakengard, and
Yeah.
I would recommend you play it. I would maybe not necessarily recommend you play it for long.
Well, yeah.
Howdy, Sora.
I mean, granted,
How
you know,
doing?
you can go through the bouncer in like 2 hours.
It's your favorite
You know,
Luigi
it is a
here.
really
We're doing
ridiculously
it.
short game.
Well, yeah.
But,
But then that 2 hours becomes 6 hours as you need to play through as all the 3 characters, and then
And
an extra 4
that's a
hours to get the specific differences for other character endings.
yeah, I was gonna say that's assuming that you know you get enough experience to unlock everything on a single playthrough.
Yeah.
What is well, I mean,
One?
personally, I found it's like 2 playthroughs minimum in order to unlock everything per character.
Yeah.
Wait,
It gets
I think
close,
it's a
yeah,
rule
for
we
sure.
know.
Like, I
Is
recall that
unless
being the
you get
case.
Unless you get really lucky with the combos and that, like the multipliers to your experience, you don't really get enough experience to get everything in one playthrough.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I recall, like, I was only able to, like, max out my character's, like, moves and, like, ranks only when I got to the 4th and 5th playthroughs, when I needed to do the conditions for the extra 2 endings.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Off to Hello Sebastian.
yep. Yeah, one of the 2, like, best/memorable areas of this game. The other being the final world. Wait, no, that's 3. Shit! You know, I'll at least give Kingdom Hearts 3 credits for something. They managed to create a name for a part of the game where its name is verbatim exactly as something that people would use to describe something in a vague term. Like calling the final world the final world.
I thought you were talking about Kayamad Scala.
Oh, no, not that one. Like, cause that one's obviously the actual last world. But the part where everyone dies.
Ah, yes.
And you have to reset the timeline.
I will say as well, the fact that the final world is at least counts for about a fifth of the entire game.
Which is weird.
That was a good shout.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think they realized that they had to give it like a proper epic cinematic movie length finale, or else there would be blood on the streets. And
Yeah.
I may mean that literally.
Mm-hmm. Alright.
Kingdom Hearts fans are a scary bunch.
Oh, yeah. up there with Kojima fans. Transform!
Yeah, and now we're super swift.
Yep. This is the big reason why I like Kingdom Hearts 2 the most, and I'm pretty sure the same goes for most people. The drive transformations are like the thing that's unique about this game, and none of the other gimmicks of all the other games really comes close to this.
Drive transformations were so much better than the transforming weapons.
Yeah. The only downside to the drive forms in this game, though, is that you have to engage with them a lot for the purpose of actually getting any useful defensive or evasive moves in your regular form. Because it's like, we got a guard ability, but that's only because we're playing on critical. This game expects you to play through an action game without the ability to dodge, which sounds kind of insane. Even DMC lets you do that, but like most people don't even realize because you're supposed to combine it like your dodge button is literally your jump button.
Yeah. And don't forget Revengeance.
Oh yeah, you have to buy the dodge there, but that's made up for the fact that you have a parry and you're expected to use it for everything.
Yeah. Oh, and also Wonderful 101. The original version of that, you had to save up to buy the dodge move. It was like 110,000 or 100,000 currency.
It wasn't really... Saving up, I feel, is like overselling it because just completing the prologue gets you enough money to buy both the dodge and block to begin with.
True, but
I
know,
get what you mean.
A lot of people saw that and were like, well, I don't need those when there's more powerful moves, not realizing that those were like the two cornerstones for the entire combat engine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can say that that's like 50-50 the devs and the players, but the fact that they dropped both of those moves down to 10 in the remaster says a lot.
Yeah.
Who it says it about, I'm not quite sure, but it definitely says something.
Yep. So yeah, here's our FF7 cast, plus Merlin. Don't ask why.
Hey, I'm Sid. I'm actually useful in this game.
Yep. Got Merlin,
Hi, I'm Yuffie.
Sid,
Girl.
Yuffie, and character who we are never going to let have a speaking role in this game whatsoever because we're skipping every moment she talks. It really is unfortunate just how absolutely dreadful her delivery is in this game.
Yeah, I think it was it Mandy Moore that was playing her in this one?
No, Mandy Moore was in the first game. Because again, the FF7 cast in this are the same voice actors they had for the English dub of Advent Children. And the weirder part is, I feel like even her performance in Advent Children was somehow way better than this was.
Oh, that's right. It was Mina Suvari that was in this one.
Yep, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, you can tell which voice actors and actresses in this like knew how to deliver a line because completely different. Acting in front of a camera is completely different to recording lines.
For sure.
You can tell that she was just sort of like, okay, so we'll just say the lines, right?
Yeah.
No, not how that works. Not remotely.
Definitely not.
Like, have you not seen the last 20 years of this movie?
Yeah.
If not, I don't blame you.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the drive forms are cool. I do appreciate a lot of how like the reaction commands work in this. Like it's not an in-depth action game, obviously. And I feel like people that try to purport it as such just because it's also an RPG are clearly missing the point of what's good action game design. But this is a good action RPG. Like, this is the sort of thing where I'd say it's good enough to play through and enjoy the spectacle, even without the story.
It's sort of like... I don't know, you can sort of say it's sort of like the midpoint between Legend of Zelda and Devil May Cry. Because the combat mechanics are a lot more involved than a Zelda game, but not as in-depth as Devil May Cry.
Yeah, it's... Yeah, because you don't really have, like... Because you may have stuff like drive forms, but it's just, like, variations on, like, the same sort of, like, core Keyblade combat you already have in this game to begin with. Whereas DMC has a whole lot of different, like, very distinct different tools to like, make how you play and fight enemies distinctly different.
Yeah. And I mean, even the dry forms are basically like standard attacks, but faster and more flashy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to scale this back down and remove all the unnecessary stuff, the game would be surprisingly simplistic.
There we go. Got the dual stance successfully. Nice. Yeah, the key to that always is that as soon as it activates, go to one of the middle menu slots, because that saves on the amount of like time you would need to like go through the menu to select the end.
I never got any of the samurai action commands on the PS2 version, but I managed to hit them all perfectly on the PS3.
Yeah, that's
so weird.
I imagine, yeah, that's very interesting because it's like, but then I also imagine part of it would be seem a bit more potentially easier, I guess, if you're playing the PS4 or PC versions, because that was when they finally recoded the games to work at 60 FPS.
No, I only got the PS4 version recently.
Okay.
I've not actually had a chance to play it yet.
Yeah, I just know that 60 FPS is like the big difference there compared to the original PS3 HD versions. Which is pretty novel, I guess. But then again, like, this was made for like a 30 FPS frame rate and game speed in mind back in the day, so it's like I got no problem putting up with it. It's at least not like bad 30 FPS experiences you would have gotten on 360, you know?
Welcome to the future of gaming. Pop-up is still a major factor.
Yeah.
Oh, and now one of the best parts of the game. I like the gummy ship missions. Fuck y'all.
I was trying to find the right things to say. But I guess one thing I can bring up is that some of the text is clearly still fucked up, or whatever it is. Yeah. Especially like on the right side above the five-way diagram. Like I'm pretty
even noticed that.
Yeah, I am pretty sure that that's not Japanese text at all. That's just corrupted characters.
Okay, Granny, catch you later. We'll probably be doing this again.
Yeah, every Wednesday pretty much, because that's the only time we can really manage to get together for stuff like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have a good one.
Later.
Peace. It is amazing how we are able to consistently do that every fucking time. Just immediately channel Con Smith.
Later.
Peace.
Well, the thing is, I like saying later is, you know, one of my usual salutations, so...
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it actually came from Killer 7, which wouldn't surprise me if that was the case.
Yeah, I think it only really became obvious when we actually did play Killer 7 on stream.
Yeah, because I've been saying it at the end of pretty much every stream that we've done.
Yeah.
Up to that point, and then it was... once we did that, it was like, oh shit, I think I've just realized something and I'm not sure if I like it.
Okay, first thing that should be done every time you start the gummy ship missions, go to full auto and let it automatically lock onto enemies for you. Done. Now the real gummy ship starts.
Seriously though, I had one entire playthrough of this that was just purely me wanting to get the gummy ship missions to max them out.
Yeah. Truth be told, it was like, I tried that for a while, but then I realized in order to really get like the best scores of some of the later ones, I would have had to got good at like making the donut ship. Except I was still bad at doing that because you can still get hit, and whenever you do the donut ship, your defense is so bad, you're basically dead in one hit.
I found that, except for those guys that just completely fly into the middle of the screen, not getting hit with a donut ship is pretty easy.
Weird, because I felt like I had to do some amount of moving regardless when doing some of the later levels, like at least on the hardest difficulties. Maybe I was just building it wrong and I just did not have like enough parts to make a proper donut ship.
I remember the shark ship mission being really difficult, regardless of what kind of ship you were using.
Maybe that was the one that was like giving me trouble trying to do
Would
that.
not surprise me. Just like if you want to get all the targets, you put yourself in a buttload of danger.
Yeah, it's real tough. But yeah, at least with it does get more fun though when you get like the later gummy ships and that have way more weapons and like the full auto method is even more easy.
Oh yeah, once you start turning your ship into a giant ball of homing lasers, it's like, okay, now I'm having fun.
Yeah. That said, I never really got good with like the versions of the missions you unlock where they give you free control to like change your camera like it's KH2 Like you spend so much time going through these missions specifically with like the camera changing at set moments that you never really think about ever wanting to change it on your own accord.
Yeah, those ones. I think the problem I had with those ones was that the game just throws too much stuff at you because it's not just the regular mission; they're throwing in additional ships at you as well.
Yeah.
So it's very, very easy to lose track of, stuff coming in from the sides.
Mm-hmm.
I think, to be honest, I think they kind of made a mistake adding those.
Yeah.
Because the game is basically balanced for, or the missions, I should say, are basically balanced for fixed camera angles.
Pretty much.
I've not seen anyone who enjoys doing the additional ones.
Yeah,
Like the harder difficulty ones, yes. The free camera ones.
Pretty much. Either way, we're not going to spend more time on the gummy ship missions than necessary. We got to keep pace, man. Time to go to Mulan World.
Let's get down to business. Must be a circus in town. What is this? No, wait, shit, that's the wrong lyrics.
But I don't think I'm ready. Shut up, you nerd. Make a man out of you is forever ruined for me thanks to Team 4 Star. So yeah, we've already arrived. We got Ping in our party, who is clearly a man. Don't ask questions.
Stand up, guy. I see no problems with this young gentleman.
Mm-hmm. Do not listen to Goofy, who is clearly shown to be the voice of reason and common sense. He is full of it.
I mean, he's goofy. Come on.
Yeah.
His plot brain powers haven't kicked in yet.
Mm-hmm. Which is funny because I literally just make reference to the fact that, like, the cutscene we skipped, he straight up sees immediately through the fact that Mulan is actually a girl.
For sure, chick. I'm not. Shut up. Well, if you say so. Goofy respects gender preferences.
Yeah. Goofy, single father and progressive individual.
What a guy.
Truly the Disney character we all deserve.
the Disney character we should all aspire to.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Winnie the Pooh, because eating lots and having naps is just delightful.
And taking the piss out of Xi Jinping, or however you say his name.
Xi Jinping.
Jinping, yeah.
And lay.
Okay.
This stream is now banned in China.
Alright.
They say it's anti-government propaganda. I just say, come at me, bro.
Yeah. I just say stop having such thin skin, fucking yellow bear. Wait, that actually sounds way worse because I said the word yellow in that context.
I was wondering where you were going with that and was like, oh.
I really had no idea, like, where it was ending up. I was on the seat of my pants.
I was just like, no, pull up, pull up, pull up.
Maybe that's actually why he really hates being compared to Winnie the Pooh and has that band. It's because of just the color of Pooh's, like, fur. He probably sees it from that perspective and actually knows, like, the pejorative meaning of the word yellow.
It could be, but I think more likely it's just that, you know, authoritarians like him are infamous for their sense of humor
Yeah.
and the lack thereof.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, you three strangers have shown up in our camp, and I have no choice but to trust you implicitly.
Also, who's this dude?
That's it. That's literally the cutscene.
Yeah. All right, show me how good soldiers you are. This one, I think I recall giving me a bit of trouble early on when I was doing the, or maybe it's another one, I forget, but like one of these missions introduces like the Centaur-style Heartless.
Oh, I fucking hate those guys.
Yeah, they are like a pain the first time you come across them on critical. You basically have to hang back super far and like bait their attacks so that you can get in during their recovery.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I've only ever played this on crowd mode, but I remember, because it's like this is the first proper stage that you've done, so you typically you won't have much in the way of skills or abilities.
Yeah.
And like those guys can just combo you from hell to breakfast.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not this mission, it's another one later on.
Yeah. I remember them being up in the mountains.
Yeah. They show up as early as, like, in the lead up to the mountains, though. I can definitely say that much.
No, like, there's always, every Kingdom Hearts game, once you get to the first proper world, there's always, like, one enemy that gives you a complete nightmare of a time.
Yeah. I just like to give another shout out to the quality of, like, the formatting in this translation patch with the overlapping red and white text.
Stop them while keeping an eye out. Defeats the Heartless the checkpoint.
Yeah. Okay, I think this is actually the one I was talking about where, like, it has you go up against some of the Centaur enemies, like, in the latter half.
Yeah.
I remember the exploding trucks being very useful.
Give me strength.
Yeah. Just gonna go get more experience from doing drive. Make it go faster. It'll probably help a lot, too, with, although maybe I should not have triggered the transformation so early. But yeah, there's what I was talking about.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
And then they start charging with that fucking thing.
Yeah, you can see now why I went into Valor mode specifically for this. And no, don't hit the flying, like, Chinese vampire. I need to deal as much damage to this. Oh, god damn it.
God, I'm having flashbacks. Gonna find me rocking back and forth under my desk going, no, not the centaurs.
Okay, come on. There we go. I at least did enough damage that the finishing off the rest is fine. But hey, at least I got Valor form level 2. I'm honestly starting to contemplate now whether or not I'm wanting to do any of the dry form grinding on stream or off, because the abilities you get from like leveling it up to max are so good and necessary, you know?
Well, I mean, you get like, was it the double and triple? No, you get the double jump normally, you get triple jump and the extended glide from some of the later ones.
Yeah, it's
which is like vital.
Valor gives you, I believe it's high jump, wisdom, which is like the magic one, gives you like an actual dodge.
Yeah.
And then the yellow, I'm forgetting the name. I think if it's master form or something, is
I think master's the white one.
No, I thought the white one was final. But whatever, like the yellow form I know gives you double jump, which combined with high jump is really good. And then the final form gives you the glide.
Yeah, Valor's red, Wisdom's blue, Limit is your original Kingdom Hearts 1 outfit.
Oh right, Limit, that's the other one. Yeah, and that's the weird thing too. Like you also get the roll, the original KH1 roll from that.
Yep.
Which is a weird layering of inputs on the same button that you think would not work, yet surprisingly does.
Master form is yellow, you were right, yeah. Final form is black and white, and anti-form is
get fucked.
Yeah. Although I remember that coming in oddly useful a couple of times. So weird.
Kinda. But it's a bad spot to be in if you, like, transform into that and you're trying to kill a boss, and this game has its, like, dumb rule of it needs to be a finishing move every time.
So Master gets you aerial dodge and air combo plus. Final, checking the wiki here. Final gets you glide and form boosts.
Yep, those are good.
Wisdom gets you quick run, MP rage, and MP haste.
Yeah.
Valor, you get high jump and combo plus. Limit. God, who came up with it? Why do you have white text on a peach background, for fuck's sake?
Oh. That's rough.
Limit form gets you dodge roll, draw, and lucky lucky. And anti-form gets you nothing. Because it's a penalty mode, essentially.
Yeah. It is nice, though, once you do get Final Form, and I'm pretty sure that completely disables the chance of you ever getting Anti-Form ever again. Unless I'm misremembering something.
I think it's like... If I remember, once you've got all the prerequisites for it, you've got like a 75% chance of activating the drive form you were intending to get.
Yeah.
15% chance of anti-form and 15% chance of final or something like that.
Yeah.
It's complete. Unlocking final is completely random once you've got everything that's loaded up.
Yeah. Though when I was going through critical mode of this months ago, I discovered that there was actually a way to like more reliably get final form unlocked quicker, and it's after you do the Roxas fight, where I think it's
That's
like
when it actually is supposed to unlock.
Well, that, and also I think like it's either a Keyblade you get from that or like sometime close to it that is specifically designed to like it changes the odds of which you like get certain forms to unlock, where like it makes the chance I think it was something like an all or nothing kind of thing, where basically the idea is that you go into like just any encounter in the world that never was, and then with that Keyblade equipped, you just pop in a random form, and it'll either go automatically into anti-form, which is the most likely, or it will just give you final form right away.
Yeah. The process of obtaining final form is made much easier in Final Mix due to the addition of the two become one Keyblade.
That's what it
When
was.
equipped, makes all form transformations turn Sora into either anti-form or final.
Yeah.
The Roxas is complete, the player must not progress past the despair, so receiving final form becomes possible, becomes harder to... that's the point of no return anyway.
Pretty much, yeah. God, to think I ever spent so much time on just the original version of Kingdom Hearts 2 and not even Final Mix. It's amazing how, like, thinking about there's gonna be, like, a generation eventually where people will only know the Kingdom Hearts games by their Final Mix versions and be baffled that there were ever, like, these PS2 versions that didn't have those things.
I mean, I'd only ever played the originals up until the PS3 re-releases.
Same here, yeah.
Like, I knew they existed, but, you know, it was like, you might as well have been telling me about gold bullion, you know? I know it exists, I'm never gonna hold it.
Yeah.
And then with Kingdom Hearts 3, they just bypassed the middleman and released the Final Mix version as DLC.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which on the one hand is, you know, that's great, but on the other, it doesn't change as much as the Final Mix versions did.
Yeah.
It adds like a shitload for both games. You know, in order to tackle any of that, you'd expect it to be at maximum level.
Definitely, yeah. Okay.
So it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's good what they did, but it's not satisfying, you know?
We got drive form again.
Yes!
Fuck you, centaurs!
See how you like being picked up, bitch.
Oh shit, there was a second one!
I take it back, take it back!
Ah.
Hubris!
Oh, fuck. All because I forgot that there's one that spawns and then immediately a second one, and now it puts me back here. God damn it. The struggles of critical mode. Like, inconsistent checkpointing will drive you crazy.
Yeah, remember what I said about the checkpoints being better? Guess who was wrong?
Well, marginally better, I guess. But not enough to really fix all of it.
There's more of them, maybe not as many as there could have been.
Yeah. Gotta go up this mountain again to do stuff that may or may not have even happened in the Mulan movie. Because these games do a pretty flimsy job of trying to, like, recap or do, like, the events of the movies they're based on.
Remember the Pixar basically said that the Kingdom Hearts 3 Toy Story world might as well, for all intents and purposes, be Toy Story 1.5.
Yeah, it's like they oversaw it. They oversaw it to the point where it could be considered weirdly canon to like both sides of the series, you know.
They just basically went, well, it's canon until it gets contradicted.
Yeah.
And we're not planning on revisiting the earlier stories anyway, so yeah, fuck it.
Yeah.
And
Honestly,
there was another one as well. They were like, yeah, it might as well be canon. Can't remember what that is off the top of my head.
I mean, if it was Pixar, that might be Monsters, Inc., I guess. Maybe that was one of them?
I think it was Big Hero 6.
Oh, that, yeah.
Yeah, because it's a direct sequel. Yeah, that's it, because it's a direct sequel to the movie. They were like, yeah, it's more or less canon, because they're not planning on doing a sequel to the film anytime soon, so yeah, why not?
Yeah, I just kind of, like, had, like, the crazy realization about Kingdom Hearts 3's world is that with the exception of, like, Mount Olympus, because Hercules has practically been a staple of the series, that, like, all the new major worlds in 3 are literally based on CG movies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Disney hasn't done a traditionally animated film in the better part of 15 years.
Yeah, but it still comes off as, like, very bizarre to me just because of, like, how this series started and, like, what time and place it was. Like,
yeah.
In my mind, when it comes to the Disney representation, I always think of a lot of, like, the classic 2D animated stuff that they were known for. Oh, well.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how it changes.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I do not have the, my drive gauge back to max like I would have liked, so... shit.
Fingers crossed?
Oh, well, I'll heal up with this.
Yeah, if I remember right, the second one doesn't spawn until that guy's almost dead.
Yeah.
Which is like supreme big move.
That block should have counted. Seriously, what the hell? Yeah. I gotta... Yeah, this is like one of those real frustrating moments of like the critical mode playthrough because of like this checkpoint.
I definitely remember this section a little too well.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, it's because at this point you don't really have any good tools for getting past those guys.
Yeah, and then even with critical giving you the guard move, it's still not like... Yeah, you saw me like when I tried to use it on that shockwave. Either was a mistiming or it just like blasts through it like as part of the design.
I think it's because like I do remember vaguely someone, I think it might have been in the AGDQ runs, that technically that's counted as like a ground attack, as in like it's magic slip under your guard.
That
some really stupid thing.
That would not surprise me, I guess. Yeah.
Because like you can take the games completely at face value, but you start watching some of the in-depth playthroughs, how much ridiculous levels of technique there is in the game, and you're like, I had no idea any of this existed.
I mean, the fact that they had to, like, they talk about, like, revenge values as being a thing and having to, like, thread the needle to make sure that they do not get bosses triggered to a state where they are doing, like, their desperation moves all the time.
Yeah. Like, is it... Which one's Zaldin? Is he the one with the spear?
Yeah, he's the one that's based on like the Dragoon class, because that's the interesting gimmick about Organization 13 is that they're all based on Final Fantasy classes, which is kind of cool, even as someone that hasn't really played or cared much to play any of the Final Fantasy games where classes were a big thing.
Oh, I'm playing Bravely Default 2 right now. Probably one of the best Final Fantasy games I've played in a while that's not a Final Fantasy game.
That's always an encouraging thing to hear.
We'll put it this way, it's better than the Final Fantasy games of late because it's not painful.
Yeah.
It doesn't cause me pain when I play it.
Though speaking of Final Fantasy and like classes, it does... I thought about it off and on, but haven't really like thought to like try and like ask the question. But considering the topic of Final Fantasies and like games in which you have like job systems, do you think Final Fantasy V would be up my alley enough to actually be the first Final Fantasy I give a shit about beating? Because the things I keep hearing about how that game's job system is set up, and the fact that I have, and like, the only other frame of reference I really have in other games is like stuff like the Mantra Grid and Digital Devil Saga, just like that degree of like customization over like your party's members' roles, and how you can like find specific combinations to just break things wide open. I wonder if FF5 somehow has enough of that to be worth my time.
Well, I mean, one of the things that the game is most infamous for, and I use the word infamous deliberately, is that the game is very easy to break.
Yeah.
What I would recommend is you play it twice. First time, you go in blind, you pick whatever classes and skills you want. Second time, you look up a couple of guides, you see what can be used, and then you just bend the game over your knee.
Okay.
5, I would say, was probably the last traditional Final Fantasy game, because once it, like, 6 is probably my favorite of the series. But 6
is very story-driven.
Yeah, and also like all the characters in it are very they have their niches, you know.
Right.
Like this guy's obviously a dragoon. These two are obviously spellcasters. This guy's a thief. You know, everyone fits into their slot. Whereas 5 is definitely more freeform. But it also is very story-based, so it's a good hybrid between the two. I would recommend playing it because it's a good game.
Right.
If you are looking to utterly destroy the game, it's probably one of the best ones to do that with.
Okay.
And
I guess for extra context, as far as like what my other experiences with like Final Fantasy games have been, and the fact that I prefaced if like 5 would be like enough to make me care about beating a Final Fantasy game for once, I'd only briefly played bits of like 4, 7, 10, and 13 to varying degrees across several years. And even though it's like 4 was probably the least offensive to me as far as like what it had to offer, but the problem was that because of just how like plain and boring it felt to me. You know, like it wasn't doing anything to like piss me off to the degree that some of the other games did. But it wasn't doing anything that felt like it was justifying, like, trying to grip or engage me with it, you know?
I think it's because the more modern games have a tendency of adding useless shit. You know? Like, you just, like, at the end of the day, you want to, you know, build up your characters, you want to punch God in the tits, blah, 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 you know? Whereas they start adding in too many mini games, they start adding in like the sphere grid was a good idea, but then they start doing stuff like the Crystarium and 13, which, you know, like, that gives you no opportunities for character growth. Like the game itself, it's just a straight path from A to B to C, with the occasional opportunity.
And even then, I would say that both instances of that were like clearly trumped by like the mantra grid in both Digital Devil Saga games. Like I just felt like with
the mantra grid in the first one is very basic, but in the second it gets a lot more interesting. And I'd say like the first one of that has the better story, but the second DDS is the better game. But I'm getting sidetracked.
Oh yeah.
I would say if you don't like Final Fantasy V, which I do recommend, give Bravely Default 2 a shot, because it's the one thing a lot of people bounce off with for 5 is that it is, you know, like a near 30-year-old game. So it's very rough around the edges. I mean, it's a SNES game, you know.
Yeah.
The updated versions of it do have a lot of quality of life improvements, but I'm not going to wallpaper over the fact of playing a 30-year-old game.
Oh yeah, I know. Like I'm already well aware that like there's like actual content differences going from like the SNES to GBA versions, and then like the other myriad of like extra additions or problems that have arisen with like all the other ports Square did like in years since with like mobile and PC.
Yeah, I would say avoid the mobile and a mobile port and the PC port based on that.
Yeah.
Like the plague.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Nothing, and they look ugly as hell.
Yeah, and the thing is like, like I've even thought about it in the context of like, okay, but would this also be cool for me to stream? And the thing is like, because it's originally a SNES game, ideally I would want to play it like on something that I can have hooked up to my CRT. But I don't really have like a good solution like that for GBA games, because I mean like I got a Game Boy emulator like app on the on my soft modded Wii that does the trick, except it has like, depending on the modes you have set, it either skips frames or slows down intermittently on GBA games. Like it's just a bit too much. Fuck you, centaurs. We're done. Oh man.
At last, our terrible nightmare has ended.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, we're still streaming.
Now I was about to say, oh no, those three stooges showed up.
No!
Gonna quickly go back to the world map and then back into the world, because I know about the trick to instantly reset your drive gauge to max when you're still in drive form.
I think that was removed from the HD versions.
I sincerely, I don't even think it was actually, because I recall seeing, I think, a stream maybe or so of someone like playing the HD versions, and that was still in there. I could be
sworn it was one of the changes that they removed because it made form grinding just too easy.
I would say it makes drive form grinding like just decent enough.
Like doable.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was like, I stupidly the last time I played left the like most people, I think I'd ignored the forums until the very end of the game. So I was stuck with having to run back and forth between the final areas, just being like, okay, recharge, use an item, recharge, kill, use an item, recharge.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this is a fantastic use of the last 5 hours. Thank you.
I actually used the drive forms a lot. The problem was that I only used specific ones, which is to say I never touched Wisdom form until it was too late.
And no one used Wisdom form.
Yeah.
The only time they used it was in areas like this or in the 1000 Heartless fight.
Yeah.
And that's only because you couldn't miss.
Yeah, this is a real painful fight because you gotta deal with like these all these mini Heartless, while also trying to single out and like deal damage to this dude.
Yeah, would it kill you to actually do something, Ken? Good God, man, what is wrong with you?
It would have been nice if Goofy could have been in here. I could have used my drive form. kind of annoying. As, like, once you get it more in your head how much you should be, like, grinding to, like, get your drive forms leveled up, it becomes actually frustrating when you're not allowed to use them during the fights where you're limited on party members.
Yeah.
It's real frustrating.
That's the other thing as well, because when you jump from 2 to final mix, you're used to not using them because they don't really give you anything except, you know, like a free health boost.
Yeah.
And then, you know, in final mix, it's like, oh, by the way, all these drive forms that you've been ignoring,
Yeah.
actually super useful. Like, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Could have told me that at the beginning of the game to their champ.
Yeah. Okay, well, at least we're back down to 1, and I'm at full health, so it's fine. Ow. Still hit me from far away, dick.
Has it got a shockwave that comes off the blade?
No, I think it's just, like, longer range than you think it would. But whatever, I was able to block it. And now we got Slide Dash. More combo moves to keep us mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah. That really is, like, I think that might be, like, one of those things as far as, like, game feel that, again, cements why Kingdom Hearts 2 is the best of the series. It's seeing the progression of you going from your very simple, like, starting combo moves, and then just seeing how absolutely long and insane they get by the end with all the abilities you equip. Like, it becomes...
Once you get to the final areas, it's like you can literally spend entire fights not touching the floor.
Yeah, it starts to feel like you have ascended to a different type of game. Which I think is the best feeling you could hope for if you're playing a long JRPG of any kind.
Yeah. Like, once you get to the point where, like, maybe it's just me, but whenever I play a game, like an RPG, there's always, like, in every area, there's always one enemy that I wind up being scared of because they've got instant kill moves.
Yeah.
Or because they do ridiculous amounts of damage.
Yeah, just engaging with them once, like, results in a net loss on literally every action.
And, like, no matter how powerful you get towards the end of the game, like, you could be stomping these guys left and right. Like, they are physically incapable of touching you. And you see them, you're still like, I got my eyes on you.
Yeah, and even when I'm in, like, Valor form right now, you start to get that glimpse of, like, what the end game is like, because you get introduced to this for the first time because it's like, oh, wow, what is this?
I mean, once you get the air combo extenders as well, it's like, yeah, I no longer, like, I have literally ascended. I have no further contact with the ground. I am a blender of death.
Yeah, I'm an automaton. I am a flesh automaton piloted by neurotransmitters.
You've been playing Cruelty Squad as well?
No, I've only just, I'm familiar with that just from watching Civvy 11's video on it and being convinced. I do need to get around to it at some point.
Oddly, the music has really grown on me, which is weird because it is horrible.
Oh yeah, everything about it is designed to be the most deliberately horrible nightmare fuel imaginable.
Yeah, the game is physically uncomfortable to play, and I'm still like, I'm playing it.
Yeah, and yet it's inviting you to break it because it's an immersive sim, and of course that means that it is just grounds for proper immersion gameplay in the traditional sense, not the bullshit marketing sense.
Not in the we couldn't be bothered coming up with actual gameplay for you, so, you know, here's some twigs and a lighter, do it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that fucking marketing. Create your own adventures. You know, I paid 50 quid for this fucking game. You give me adventure.
Yeah, exactly.
I know my rights.
Stop trying to give me an ocean to explore that is literally as deep as a puddle.
Yeah. Like, I'm fine with having the same, you know, 30 minutes of gameplay over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
As long as that 30 minutes is fun.
Oh, yeah, we both like Earth Defense Force. That is proof enough. Or
that is literally a game which is, you know, here's big bugs, shoot them. Oh, here's some different big bugs, shoot them too. Oh, the bugs are bigger now.
Yeah.
Maybe you should shoot them.
Or in my case, I've been playing
Next
Zengeki
one's a
no.
wasp.
Or in my case, I've been playing Zengeki no Regan Leaf, so it's like, oh, there's a giant. Oh, there's an even bigger giant. There's a giant, but he's green. That game is super fun. God damn it. I've been struggling on whether or not I wanted to like save that for just be streaming through it, but then I thought, no, if it's anything like Earth Defense Force, it's gonna be so many hours that if I just focus on streaming that, I'll never get around to playing anything else on there. So it'll just be the thing I play in between. And oh boy. It's like I mentioned to you offhand months ago when I mentioned that I had downloaded the translation patch for it and installed it to an ISO for my Wii, and that like it literally is just like a fantasy Earth Defense Force, but like in Norse mythology and all that. That claim is still true, but the thing that's really grown on me so much about that game is with the weapons and the fact that even though they have very limited, distinct like classes of weapons, they still find different ways to add new wrinkles to them in how you use them. Because with Earth Defense Force, when you get new weapons, it's like the act of using them doesn't change. You literally point and shoot. It's just the effect of what takes place on screen when the thing you shoot actually collides with something.
Yeah.
Whereas
the number of shots that you fire to begin with.
Yeah. Whereas with Zengeki, it's like you have various weapons that have like multi-hit combos, and they start playing around a lot with like where they decide to have hits in that combo be light or heavy hits. And sometimes later on they introduce a third type known as deadly hits. And also put emphasis on like these type of hits favor damage if you swing them downward or upward and things like that. Yeah.
I can see that getting very complicated very quickly.
It kind of does. I feel like it's weird to talk about depth in the context of like a Sandlot game, considering it is the epitome of quantity over quality. But it does feel like that there is a weird sense of depth to like not only the weapons, but also like a gleeful sense of wanting to experiment with each new one you unlock. It's a sort of energy I find that's similar to like a game that they made on the DS. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called Choshoju Mecha MG.
The name is not familiar.
It was a giant robot game, which, you know, that's familiar enough for them because Sandlot made Robot Alchemic Drive. But
yeah, I know that.
Yeah, but the idea behind Mecha MG is that you had like 100 mecha in that game, and the conceit is that much like their remote control games, it works under the same way, except it's instead of the remote control being something like an analog for your PS2 controller, it's more like they're marionettes, and the touchscreen is like the apparatus you use to manipulate their limbs. And because you have so many different robots with different functions, and the touchscreen can be literally anything you want it to be, that means you have 100 different mini control schemes for each robot.
Jesus.
Yeah, they're made simple enough. It's not like overwhelmingly complex like Rad is, and it does have a bit of a messy quality to it because it is relying on a touchscreen for those inputs as opposed to buttons. And that's also why I'm reminded of that when I think of Zengeki, because the motion controls feel like a solid analog to that, to the point that even some of the imprecision that comes with those controls naturally comes up. But you don't care, because it's a Sandlot game, and you swung a giant hammer to just crush a dozen giants into paste and blood geysers everywhere that it drops the frame rate into the single digits. You need nothing else. Yeah, it's really great.
I've been meaning to play 13 Sentinels, which I know is more of a visual novel. But I remember seeing a review of it. I think it was by a guy called Thor High Heels.
Yeah, I'm familiar with their channel, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain It was one of his reviews that I saw. But they were talking about whoever it was that did it. They were talking about how the actual tactical fights are very simplistic, but eventually you get to a point where the PS4 is struggling to, like, legit struggling to handle all the explosions happening on screen, and rather than, you know, being like, ugh, this is a badly programmed game, you're like, holy shit, I feel like a gigantic badass right now.
Yep. Yeah, and it just feels so good with Zangeki's weapons when you just pull it off just right. You get that perfect swing in which in the part of the combo where it's designed to give you the most damage when you swing a specific way, and it lines up just right. It's practically a prerequisite if you want to get through the harder difficulties, which is what I'm currently working through. Like, for context, like my current save file completion on that, I think is at 49%, and I'm like part of the way through beating the game like on the middle difficulty, which is hard. It basically works on the same rules as EDF, in which you have 5 difficulties: easy, normal, hard, hardest, and inferno.
Yeah.
And obviously, the higher you go in difficulties, the more resources you get. But obviously, it's kind of ill-advised to go through those unless you have the strong enough weapons to make killing them not a chore.
Yeah, and also, like, once you start targeting the higher difficulties, I remember when I first started playing them, I was like, okay, well, you know, normal's a bit too easy, let's go on to hard. And I got flattened into pace in about 30 seconds because I didn't have anywhere near enough health.
Yeah, and like the completion percentage they give you, that is specifically tied to how to whether you've like completed all the missions on every difficulty with both of your player characters. So, like, if you were to just play through on easy and complete all those missions once with both characters, then it's like, good job, you're only 20% through.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and the weapon tree is insane, because this is actually one thing that I think makes me ultimately like this game, I think, more than EDF, which is crazy because I still like that series overall. Yeah. Is the way in which you get your weapons and upgrade your health. Because we're all familiar with how Sandlot has done it in EDF. Like, you get weapons, like, from random drops off of enemies. And the only way you can increase your armor points is if you grab, like, the specific armor pickups that are dropped in mission. Which means a whole lot of running and rolling around just to get them.
End of the day, you're just picking up boxes.
Yeah. Whereas in Zangeki, the only things you have to pick up are, like, resource, like, crystals, you know, like, stuff for, like, mana and, like, other elements, because those are used for crafting the weapons on a weapon tree. So, it actually has, like, the benefit, I think, of giving you a glimpse of, like, what you're potentially working towards, rather than having the hope of, like, getting a random weapon you don't even know is going to show up.
Kind of reminds me of the crafting system in Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah.
Because for that they added in big skill trees as opposed to just the regular, you know, see weapon pick up thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it any deeper, but it makes it more interesting.
Yep, definitely. But it's also the sort of thing.
Chick looks a lot like him.
Yeah.
That's really weird. Does she know she's got a friend?
I have no idea.
Anyway.
Okay, but we just clowned on most of his health with Valor Form, and now we're just gonna limit break the shit out of him for the remainder.
Now we do it all for China.
For ancient China, not modern China. Also, fuck you, bird.
I remember one of my friends, he got he had a modded PS2 back in this moment, and I think it was like, I think it was like
Press! Oh, didn't kill him. Oh, please. Oh, I was gonna heal myself, Goofy, but thanks anyway.
Yeah, that's right. You've got to. All the bosses can only be killed with a combo finisher.
Yeah.
You can't just beat on them and hope for the best.
Unless you use magic.
Yeah.
I really wanted him to do the reaction command so that I could do it again to finish him off, but I was like, no, screw you. I'm done.
But yeah, one of my there was a space of about 3 or 4 months between the US release of Kingdom Hearts 2 and the European release.
Mm-hmm.
One of my friends had a modded PS2 at the time, so he was just like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna, pirate the shit out of it," which worked really well until you got to Atlantis because the songs were out of sync.
Oh, right, yeah, because of the PAL standards, 50 hertz,
which
shit
made them even worse. Since that first playing, I have never every time that I get to that section, I just put the game on mute.
Yeah.
The song sucked.
Which, by the way, I guess I should go ahead and say, because since it's not a requirement for actually getting to the final boss, we're not going to be playing Atlantica.
Oh, thank God.
There's, the only reward for doing it is an Orihhalcum Plus, and it's there's no point in getting everything for the Ultima weapon unless you're specifically planning to, show off, the stuff in the post-game, which I'm not. I just kind of want to, I may have done those post-game stuff in my off time before. Being able to do it on stream and not lose my mind the way I did at parts that's too much to ask.
I would say still go through the area leading to the Data Orc fights, because that's interesting.
Yeah, that dungeon. Yeah, because it at least opens up before you even, before unlocking the rest of the post-game stuff. And
also, working out which skills need to be used where that's kind of cool. The whole dungeon's like a puzzle.
Yeah, it's have you mastered all your drive forms to get their traversal abilities?
Yeah.
And also deal with really tough enemies.
Yes.
They're
really tough enemies that don't give you anywhere near enough experience.
Yeah,
difficulty.
That's the real kicker. And even when you get close to the level cap, it still doesn't feel like you were able to deal with them nearly as well. No. It's always a struggle.
Yeah, it's a good challenge, but it doesn't feel like a rewarding one.
Yeah,
it's a problem.
Even though, because of how the game's combat system works, it's still a fun, it's still a fun, hard challenge. It's just you can't expect to get the biggest XP payout out of it.
Yeah. Alright, this thing. Oh, cool. I already killed him before he could do any more of his attacks. Nice.
Yeah. Unfortunately, our lock-on abilities are not anywhere good enough yet because you don't have the later models, but that's also what makes full auto settings so good anyway, because you can just keep holding the circle button a lot longer. You don't wear out your thumbs nearly as much.
Oh, no. Yeah, I remember him playing it and didn't know about the full auto feature. And
same here.
All you heard was click, 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 click. It's you are actually going to kill yourself if you play this. I don't care.
And your DualShock 2.
Yeah.
If you're gonna kill it for any good cause, kill it while playing God Hand. At least you're mashing buttons for good reason.
Mashing buttons for the glory of victory.
You gotta keep your pimp hand strong with the power of the God Hand.
Don't act like you don't.
Yep, with our amazing knockoff sounding Mazinger Z thing. Hey, look at that, level 30, rank 30.
Yay.
Let's try and actually maintain this until the very end, because we're close.
This will be really good for the 20 or so seconds you've got left of the stage.
And it was!
Almost exactly 20 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm a prophet.
Yeah. I still missed a couple of treasures early on, some of the red-colored enemies I didn't kill in time, but who cares? At least that ranking's out of the way.
Well, unless you're planning on going back through them, you only ever need to do them once.
Yeah. I feel like... I'm trying to think...
Don't get any of the weapon upgrade materials from the gummy missions, do you?
No, the materials you get during the gummy missions are specifically for making better gummy ships.
Yeah, that's what
Which
I thought.
I always was glad that was the case. I would not have liked having to, like, try and, like, force myself through some of those later missions just to get some of the materials for crafting.
Yeah, unlike Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, they pull that shit, huh?
Not so much in the actual, missions, but there's a lot of stuff that you can only pick up from just flying around areas.
Look at that, we got high jump level 1 for our regular form, finally!
Thank God.
Yep.
But yeah, there's lots of big treasure spheres, which drop. So which when you, excuse me, hiccups for some reason, when you go through them and unlock them, they give you lots of items, including
cool.
stuff for weapon upgrades and that. Because there's a full crafting system in that one, as opposed
Yeah.
which it goes beyond the crafting system in this one.
Yeah!
But not in a fun way.
Oh, dear. Okay, so we got aerial sweep, high jump, magic lock-on. That's good. I could definitely use that more for the times where I want to just pop off magic, but not stress about, like, who I'm targeting. Oh yeah, and of course we got the new Keyblade, Hidden Dragon, which I forget. Oh yeah, it's less strength, but restores MP relative to the amount of damage taken. I'm actually gonna...
It's a good backup for Valor Form.
Yeah, that's actually what I'm, like, at least for right now, I'm just moving the Star Seeker to my main weapon because, you know, Air Combo Plus, it's always good. More airtime.
I think the maximum you can get is something like 10 hits before in an air combo or something.
Wouldn't be
As in 10
surprised.
button presses. Like each one has, once you start getting to the higher levels, each
Yeah.
hit is like 4 or 5.
True. Okay. Maximizing everything we can out of this cool as hell form.
Showing a callous disregard for gravity.
Mm-hmm. As was the style at the time.
Yeah, I remember these sections being like, there's gonna be one of these armors is booby trapped. Because, you
Something
know,
like
I
that.
just played Resident Evil 4
Yeah,
immediately before.
that's true.
Which has made me paranoid for all suits of armors everywhere.
Yeah, in this game, RE4, are there living suits of armor in Haunting Ground? I wouldn't be surprised if there were.
Haunting Grounds. That's the one with the dog, isn't it?
Yeah, with Huey.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes place in a castle. I would assume it would.
Not that I remember. Granted, it was one of those games I never got particularly far in because some of the systems in it were just so obtuse.
Yeah.
As far as I remember, there's only, like, the stalkers in the game are the only real enemies that you encounter.
That's true, yeah. It is was kind of supposed to be clock towery, except not quite.
Yeah, it was essentially meant to be Clock Tower 3.5 or 2.5 because Clock Tower 3 came out later.
Yeah, something like that.
But as I said, I never got particularly far in it because it was a bit too weird, you know? And this is me saying that.
I don't know, but it at least sounds to me like it's the kind of weird that would still be playable, unlike Rule of Rose, which is too weird to be playable under any normal circumstance.
Rule of Rose goes out of its way to be obtuse.
Yeah, it's
like it goes out of it like it's a game with a combat engine that actively hates you.
Mm-hmm.
Like it does its damnedest to make sure you don't enjoy the combat, and it would be a perfectly serviceable game if it weren't for that.
I just realized I went through the wrong hallway. That's right, we're supposed to go see Belle.
Yes.
Yeah, which we might as well. Yeah, we do not get to see Belle, like, squeezing Donald to death.
Donald seems okay with it for some reason. Can't imagine why.
I mean, who wouldn't? Too weird? No? Okay, moving on.
So anyway,
Now we go back to the hallway we were just in before I completely forgot, because we kind of been getting a bit lax on making up what exactly has been happening, because we solved China's problems, defeating the Huns. We now have to I guess do something regarding we're solving relationship issues, I guess. That seems to be the main thing in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Mulan World is the plot of Mulan. Have you seen Mulan? Congratulations, you know what happens in Mulan World. This one is more like Beauty and the Beast 1.2, because it's meant to take place in like that time gap between her moving in and everything going weird at the end of the game.
Yeah, and because the developers were too scared to include Gaston.
I can't say I blame them.
Yeah, I mean, especially these days, you'd be having to ride a real thin line trying to include a flagrantly pompous misogynistic prick like him in here.
Yeah, one who's just barely the right side of rapey.
Yeah, but has enough character to him that you kind of get still a bit of entertainment how much of a pompous douche he is. Except you did remember all the other things implied by him and go, oh yeah, he's a real villain.
Yeah, it's just barely salvageable as a character.
Yeah.
And I mean barely.
Mm-hmm. If anything, Groose, I feel, is what happens when you get a character that tries to channel the Gaston energy without any of, the seriously bad implications.
Yeah, he's halfway decent as a character.
Yeah.
He's a pompous dick, but, you can't... if you can picture a character as a high school quarterback putting roofies in a girl's drink, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Groose at least does not do that. He's at least more concerned about just bullying the hell out of Link, because he's jealous of his childhood friend status.
You could see that easily with Gaston. I don't think you could see it with Groose.
Yeah, it's the only commonalities you can really say is the very big showboaty air that both of them have.
Yeah.
And also that Groose actually decides to become the hero halfway through.
Yeah, he's redeemable.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This is... I also recall this being a very tough moment on critical mode, and also probably the first instance where you're actually likely to get Mickey to show up if you die.
Yeah. But yeah, as we were saying earlier, the plot of this section is basically some weird dude has shown up and is... Oh.
Yeah, like I was talking about.
Hey!
I do appreciate the detail, at least, that, during this first half of the game, he has the trench coat on. But if he shows up during the later ones, he's in his regular outfit.
Yeah, he shows up like fucking Yoda and prequels.
He really is. With the stature and the way he flips around, that is entirely what they're going for.
Absolutely. I don't know how you can see that and not be like that.
Yeah.
And he's giving you the D charge.
Yep, gotta charge up that D.
What is this? No More Heroes 4?
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to 3 yet. Fuck, I cannot wait for that game to come out, god damn it.
No More Heroes 4, they just pull a complete 180 and it's a Disney game now.
Yeah. No More Heroes 4, but it's Shinobu. Because according to what Suda's recently been talking about, he basically treats the arc of Travis in the same way as Rocky.
Passing it down to the next generation and his wife dies of breast cancer.
Sure, I guess, although that's a very grim fate for Sylvia, I recognize.
Oh no, that's what happens in the last Rocky movie, Rocky Balboa. Adrian doesn't show up because, well, he says that she died of women's problems. So,
Yeah.
you can take that. But,
Okay.
Yeah, that's really one. Like,
Yeah, but it's like I wouldn't want that fate to befall Sylvia. It's almost more like dignified, I feel like, in the No More Heroes universe if you just end up dying by like violent assassination. Preventable disease just feels even sadder in that case.
But she can't die of cancer. She still has all those crimes to commit.
Yeah.
She's only defrauded 700 people this year. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Rookie numbers.
Man. That game's gonna be so good. And it's like, the real frustrating thing about it is that, because I'm planning to stream it, I know damn well that, like, the people I know that care the most about No More Heroes are not gonna watch me play it. Because I know you're gonna want to experience that for yourself. And,
oh, yeah.
And I know Raph's not here, but I'm pretty sure he's also gonna be doing the exact same thing.
Oh, no. I mean, like, I deliberately avoid most trailers. Just so that, well, in part so that I don't get hyped up, because the last 2 times I've done that, the last time I really got into a movie just based purely on the trailers was Matrix Reloaded.
Oof.
And the last game I got really hyped up for because of the trailers was Prototype 2.
Ouch.
Both of those were, let's just be kind and say, mediocre.
Yeah, that's fair.
So as a result of that, like, anytime there's a new trailer out for something, I'm like, nope, not gonna watch it, not paying attention, get it over.
Guess I gotta refrain myself from talking about some of the things I've seen in the latest trailers and, like, gameplay clips from the Japanese website.
I don't know, by all means. Like, people telling me about stuff is like, whatever. It's just the, buying into hype is something I try not to do these days.
Oh, yeah.
Like, admittedly, when I played the demo for World Ends With You Neo, because I refuse to call it Neo, World Ends With You, that just sounds stupid to me.
Oh, yeah.
There was a trailer at the end of the game, and I was like, oh shit, this looks amazing. Which is probably just the last release trailer.
Okay.
But yeah, like, anything interesting, by all means, go ahead.
Oh, well, I guess the thing that's still in my head is Itadakimasu! Itadakimasu!
There's so many ways I can take that, and none of them are...
The sushi places where you can order sushi in No More Heroes 3 have their own theme music. It's the best. That's literally what it is, because it's like a little, like, a rap, and then, like, the main chorus is just the dude going, Itadakimasu.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me. I got some stickers from Redbubble the other day.
Oh.
And I got one from No More Heroes, Goddamn Superhero.
Yes! Still an amazing name.
Looks really good as well. It's all angular and spiky. So even if you didn't know what it was, you'd still think it was cool.
Yeah, but yeah, goddamn superhero. Like, and even just like getting the full list now of like the Galactic Superhero ranking members is like, I'll keep saying it again until I'm blue in the face. Suda51, the best at coming up with names in the industry, or just in general, because like Vanishing Point, Gold Joe, Mr. Black Hole, Sniping Lee, Velvet Chair Girl.
I mean, fuck it. Travis Touchdown, Santa Destroy. Those are fucking awesome names.
Yeah. Yeah, they were still...
Names, you hear them and you're like, fuck, I wish I thought that.
Yeah. And then, yeah, just trying to think of, like, other stuff. There was, because it had been, like, in, like, some of the press cycle for a while now, but, like, had been, like, showing off stuff with, like, the what the core game loop is like for No More Heroes 3, and obviously confirming what we already knew, which is it taking after No More Heroes 1 specifically with gotta do all the odd jobs in order to work your way up to the boss.
Yeah.
And like,
I've seen some of the screen caps of it might have been the job selection board.
yeah.
But again, I was like, oh, okay, that's No More Heroes stuff.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah, I know there's like toilet cleaning or unclogging, which I'm pretty sure, I don't recall if it was confirmed or maybe it was something that was like guessed by other people, that it might be something where like it's done specifically to unlock new save points in the overworld, which I think is a pretty genius concept.
Yeah.
But the best
the
part,
controls for that are going to be amazing.
yeah, but I think the best part that I saw was like with the boss fight against Gold Joe, because it had been shown before, like at E3, and it was shown like again, like, hey, Gold Joe, fantastic character. But the thing that like makes it even better, I think, was the like in the latest version I saw, is that when you beat them, and I think it might be implied to be the same every time you beat a boss, you get 1980s anime style credits. Yes, it is amazing, because it's like it. And when I say 80s style anime credits, I mean down to the aspect ratio being 4:3. And it's like, and I think it's designed specifically just to like further tap into Suda's recent Gundam kick he's been on, because it uses like, it's a slow pan up of like art. With Travis's art specifically being in a similar pose to the last shooting.
Of course.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's funny because I've been watching Tekkaman Blade and Zeta Gundam lately.
Yeah.
So...
That's pretty
I
good.
picked up Zeta on Blu-ray recently.
Mm-hmm.
Looks really nice, you know. Not much more to say than that. So that's kind of weird that I've been on a retro mecha anime kick as well.
Yeah.
Like, has he been reading my brain?
Mm-hmm.
Because that would explain a lot.
Yeah. Quickly though, we got Beast in our party now. We caught him in a heated gamer moment, and we had to tell him that things were not okay what he was doing, and had to calm him down.
Thankfully, it wasn't the kind of heated gamer moment that normally occurs.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for the time being, it's a good thing that him and Belle are in separate rooms, or else this would have been, like, unrecoverable.
Just the second you hear him say any word that starts with N, everyone just...
It's like, what? Neophytes?
All I said was he was a piss poor excuse for a no good for nothing.
Yeah.
Was worried where you were taking that there, Beast. But
Yeah.
Let's just stay away from the middle of the alphabet for the time being, shall we?
Yeah. But yeah, but also like still speaking about like the retro anime stuff, it's like I've not been watching any retro anime right now, just because, again, as I've noted, I've been watching Get a Robo Arc. Which, we're 6 episodes in already. We now made it to the point where, like, if this were the manga, it would be volume 2. Which is
only 2 volumes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or 2 and a bit.
So I think it's becoming more and more likely now that we are going to be getting, like, that new, like, conclusive ending, if it's keeping the pace that it currently is. Like, maybe around episode 10 or 11, it'll catch back up to where volume 2 ended. Or at least, like, or at least where to...
13 episodes?
13 episodes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been, I loaded up all of the Get a Robo manga onto my Kindle so that I can catch up with it.
Nice.
I've got all the various mangas, including all the core ones, not any of the spin-offs.
Yeah.
I had the first 2 volumes of Devolution.
Right, yeah.
And I picked those up on the birthday the last 3. And I remember I was reading it, and the last page I don't know if you've read it at all.
Oh, I
the
have,
last-
and I, if it's about like the final page at the very end, like I know exactly what it's referring to.
Yeah, the last page being Ryoma's first appearance in the manga.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I hadn't started reading the manga at that point, I was like, I know this is supposed to be important, but I'm damned if I know why.
Yeah, the important part being is that it basically is
It's a
like,
loop.
yeah, it's like a very like meta multi-universe loop going on.
Yeah.
With Getter Emperor not only being big enough to consume the universe, but to also transcend it.
Yeah. I remember someone saying that because Getter Emperor in the anime looks a lot like it, like apparently they're using the Emperor design that they had in Evolution or something.
Like in Arc?
Yeah.
Weird. I
in the
thought
anime.
it looked well, because like the only glimpse we really got of Emperor is like in the opening. Like
Right.
the opening theme, and I assume like it was still like being taken exactly as it is from the manga, because the design for Shin Robo in Arc is clearly based on the manga version and not the one in Arc, which actually has notable differences. It's just I
Right.
think most people don't really notice because Armageddon gets so much more like recognition and play that's like if you look at like available like toys or models of Shin Robo, it's always the version from Armageddon with the protruding chin.
Yeah. Well, Armageddon is like. I think if people know anything about Getter Robo, it's probably because or you know directly from Armageddon.
Yeah,
You know, it's like the Kingdom Hearts 2 of the series, basically.
Kinda.
The one that everybody knows.
yeah, which is kind of unfortunate considering I do feel like that there are like other stuff with Robo after Armageddon that is like way better or interesting.
But yeah, like, admittedly, I am just going on, you know, second, third-hand reports because I haven't started. I'm waiting until it finishes before I start watching.
Yeah,
But I remember some people saying it's like it looks like they've taken some inspiration from Evolution for Arc.
maybe. I guess I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like we'll know for sure when we get to like the part of the story where you actually see Emperor in full, because that's a
Yeah.
thing that happens in Arc.
Yeah.
But the thing that I can at least say, just in vague terms, is that, like, the first 5 episodes have been, like, fairly faithful to, like, the events of the first volume, aside from, like, they do a thing where, like, one of the villains, like, their introduction takes place at a different location entirely in the anime, because what they do with one of the episodes, they use it to basically give justification for retreading on the Shin Robo manga as a flashback, because it has to do with like the side effects of Getter rays, and how like when you're kind of irradiated with them, you start seeing things that are like where because of the radiation, you're basically seeing ghosts that are manifested through the rays themselves.
Yeah, I remember someone having a big complaint about how they're trying to make the anime more accessible for people who haven't studied every single panel of Getter Robo, and I'm like, dude, get over yourself.
Yeah, it's like you can't really like complain about that so much when like they haven't even done a faithful manga adaptation of the other parts of the series. Like every other like major anime of Robo that everybody knows from Armageddon onward is like some reimagining / composite version of stuff that existed either tonally or content-wise in the manga. And I don't mind it doing it the way that it is in the anime itself, because it's also helpful a lot with like episode 6 especially adding some of its own stuff on top of it, which I think is very much appreciated for fleshing out like the arc part of the story in a non-flashback way, because 2 specific characters from Getter Robo Go actually show up in episode 6. Which I really want to just say what it is, even though you've not watched it, but I guess I'll just say...
Well, for one thing, I'm not too precious about spoilers, and for another, I literally just started reading it last week.
Okay.
I'm about halfway through the original.
All right.
So,
Well,
I'm probably not even going to remember by that point.
Okay, well, of the characters from Getter Robo Go, one of them is Sho Tachibana, who was one of the pilots of the titular Getter Robo Go, who's like pretty much like the only female Getter pilot of note, like in the manga series. Obviously, there was Kay in Armageddon, but the thing was that kind of surprised me was that I was like, her design looks familiar, but she looks almost like any kind of Go Nagai style like hot anime woman. But then it was Sho, and it's like, oh, that explains why I didn't recognize her. I always assumed based on other media that she had a lighter hair color. But otherwise, she's basically in there in a very prominent role. And the second character is Schwarzkopf Bruder, which you might remember from Armageddon. He was the pilot of the Stilver.
Actually, for a second, I was thinking Schwarzbruder from G Gundam, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, well, I maybe Bruder's not like his other name. I know it's Schwarzkopf, but like he's the big blonde asshole in Armageddon. And to put politely, what he is in Getter Robo Go, he's an even bigger asshole. He's So you know how the term racist is often applied in like anime to describe things that are offensive in like a stereotypically charged way, like trying to like. Yes. This is the other kind of racist in which you can automatically pinpoint him to a certain kind of person living today, making a big stink about his particular views, and going, "This dude needs to be canceled ASAP."
Kind of guy that you're like, no, when we're talking about this shit, this is exactly what we need.
Yeah, he's like, because the thing that like really cements it is when he goes on a tirade in the manga where he's ranting about the Japanese people because he's got a big stick up his ass about it due to like biases against them and like kind of how they affected like his father and grandfather in different ways. That they're like, wow, you really do hate the Japanese, do you? Damn straight, they're the ones I hate the most, followed by blacks and the Mexicans. And it's
That's
like,
right.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, because that section was written in the 80s, if I remember right.
It was the 90s that Getter Robo Go was written. Yeah,
Oh.
it surprised me real hard that Ken Ishikawa was like trying to push forward the idea of like with the stories of Getter Robo Go basically being like the main characters in those stories are all like psychotic to various degrees. But the whole point of it is that like only these kind of people that are otherwise unsavory in normal circumstances have to learn to put aside like these kind of like qualities of themselves in order to work together and achieve something greater than themselves. Which is what happens with Schwarzkopf over time, where, like, his introduction establishes that he is an unlikable racist piece of shit. But by the end of it, he's established as he's an unlikable racist piece of shit who's starting to consider that maybe his way of thinking is actually not good anymore.
I remember there was one character that got toned down dramatically in later adaptations.
Yeah, like again, he's in Armageddon, and he doesn't really have the racist tendencies. He's just really mad about like anyone related to Professor Saltome, considering his involvement in establishing like the whole post-apocalypse setting of the show.
Which I'm gonna say, fair.
Yeah, it's fair, even if it does mean he ends up kind of taking it out on Kay because of the reveal midway through that you know she's his daughter.
But yeah, as I said, I remember like I could have sworn that was like, you know, early to mid 80s, because you know. Yeah. For lack of a better term, you could get away with that shit back then.
Yeah, but I think he was able to get away with
like
yeah.
What 90s was like almost the internet.
Yeah, it's like Ken just felt like he was able to like really get away with that then, just because he at least knew that like he was writing this character as like, yes, not only is this dude a racist, but you're not supposed to like him because of it.
Yeah, which, you know, is in and of itself oddly progressive for manga.
Yeah, but it's also like always comes off as like a very thin line to really walk, because you get those people who are complete idiots and don't even realize that he's presenting it that way as part of like trying to condemn it.
The Cartman effect.
Yeah. Or Scott Pilgrim effect, I guess, because I feel that series also has that same problem of people not getting that it explicitly establishes that Scott's not a good person.
Yeah, from the very off, it's like, yeah, Scott's kind of an indecisive, needy asshole. And
He's
people are
dating
like,
a high schooler, and none of his bandmates approve of it.
like everyone is telling him like, Scott, you've got problems. And
Yeah.
he's like, he's almost literally like, yeah, but I'm the protagonist, so everything I do and say is right.
Yeah, until it's clearly not, and it kind of takes him having to deal with, like, Ramona's baggage and realizing that, you know, weirdly enough, they are kind of, like, meant for each other, because they are both, like really flawed, not good people underneath, and try to get better. Try to.
Yeah.
In quotes.
It also doesn't help that in most, well, maybe not most media, but in most interpretations have Ramona as being, you know, unbelievably wonderful and pure. You know, ignoring the fact that she's directly responsible for at least half the bullshit that goes on in Texas.
Yeah, it's like
Yes,
either
some of them
due to,
were
like,
horribly abusive, but
yeah, like
you
it was
know,
always kind of like, maybe again it might be a thing where like it had been long enough since I've read it to really know for sure, but I feel like it was always felt like it was up in the air whether or not like the reason the exes turned out the way that they did was because they were always bad people, or it was because of like, and like Ramona just had bad taste in men, or just something she did with them that just made them turn out that way. Either way, it's not really a good look when you're trying to date someone and you have to tell them, by the way, you have to deal with all of my 7 deadly exes that all want your head.
I remember like, when she first appears, Roxy comes across as just a horrible individual.
Yeah.
But then a few flashbacks, it's like, after some flashbacks, it's like, wait, she was actually pretty okay before she got involved with Ramona.
I mean, there's the whole bit where Scott finally gets it through his fucking brain that when she said deadly exes, she doesn't mean ex-boyfriends. And then even she's upset at that, where she's like, you literally just treated your time with me as a phase. Fuck you.
Remember, she's bi-furious.
Yeah.
Which is one of the best put downs in the entire series.
It's so good, man. And then she gets done in with a poke to the knees.
Yeah.
Which may or may not have been exclusive to the movie, I forget.
Honestly, like, I haven't read the books since the last one came out, so that's a good 10 years or so.
Yeah, that's kind of the same for me, too. Like, I basically read the books and lead up to the movie.
Yeah, I should probably get around to reading them again, but I'm always put off by the people who like Scott Pilgrim.
Well, the thing is, like, I barely ever am in a situation where, like, I run into those people, so I don't even think about it, really. But I can see how that would be absolutely insufferable, especially if God forbid, their only exposure to Scott Pilgrim is, like, through that beat-em-up.
Yeah, I mean, the movie is vastly truncated, but even it does a better job of being like, yeah, this guy's kind of a dickhead.
It says a lot, too, that, like, the evil negative version of Scott, like, you think it's gonna be, like, Scott having to face his inner demons, when really, his inner demons, because they're the opposite of who Scott is actually a pretty nice guy. That's really fucking telling about how bad of a person Scott Pilgrim is.
Yeah, your evil twin is nicer than you.
Yeah, and it turns out he's really chill.
Oh, well, that just makes me really uncomfortable.
Yeah, which, weirdly enough, I'll fully admit, when I got to that part in the movie, it kind of flew over my head what the joke of that was, but then I checked it, like, on a later revisit, and remembering the stuff from how he is as a character and the source material, that I'm like, oh yeah, this is like a final condemnation of his character in the most like damning with faint praise kind of way.
It's really subtle how they go back later on. It's like, oh, so you're telling me the first few volumes were essentially all told from his point of view?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a twist.
Yeah. And then also, like, so much of the final volume is you thinking that Gideon Graves is obviously being the bad guy and kidnapped Ramona back. Except it's no, she just fucked off and went on vacation without telling either of them.
I mean, even if, like, it wouldn't surprise me if they, you know, pulled a play out of Graves' book and been like, yeah, no, she was just trying to get away from you because you're a dickhead.
Yeah, it could have definitely been either.
Like, I would have been totally on board with that because it would have been, well, it would have been a huge twist for people familiar with Braid. But also it would have been like, yeah, Scott, you fucking suck.
Yeah. It's like, and yet still, it's one of the best stories as far as, like, being about an objectively horrible person that is not being glorified in his terribleness, and while minor, still trying to make himself better for it over time.
Yeah, the perspective...
Basically the opposite of what Y2K achieves.
No.
Oh god.
We do not bring that up because if we do, I will just start screaming.
Oh man.
I mean, full-throated roars. That... Jesus Christ. But yeah, I have to wonder if the perspective flip in the later Scott Pilgrim books wasn't because of people who were like, nah, Scott's really cool, you know?
Yeah, it's like,
was it always planned, or was it just, like, you know, Brian O'Malley going like, ah, shit, I need to correct some courses here?
I would not be surprised if it was trying to like do it in reaction to people, like, being completely oblivious to the fact that it is negatively portraying him at the start with dating knives.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even the film had an alternate ending where he gets back together with her, but if I remember in the movie, they did make a point of not specifically stating her age.
I can see why.
Right. It's been a long time since I've seen the film as well, but I remember them being like, yeah, she's in high school, but, you know, she's getting ready to leave, and I've just started college, so, you know, we're practically the same age. I might be misremembering that, but I remember being kind of like, they didn't mention the whole Scott dating in high school then.
Weird, yeah. But I'm pretty sure even in the movie itself, they do start with, like, the exact same exchange in the book, where, like, one of his bandmates just goes, Scott Pilgrim is dating a high schooler. How old are you, Scott?
Yeah, I'm fairly certain they did some kind of fuckery with the ages to make it a bit less.
Probably a situation where, like, I think because in the book she was like 17 or something, and so they were like, well, maybe that's close enough, maybe 18. You know, some high schoolers are 18 when they're senior
year. She was 16 in the books, and he was like 20.
Yeah, I think 22 or something.
Yeah,
because Scott very much, based on, like, his background or whatever, was clearly like the post-college age, and like being stuck in that part of his life of not knowing what the fuck to do and just making bad decisions because of it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
How old is Mag's child? Right, yeah, she's 17.
Yeah, and surely that will not get you on any watch lists for searching that.
No.
How did I get knocked on top of here?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I am just trying to hit this thing, and he keeps blank-balling my ass the entire time. He's not even... Oh god, I keep missing the prompt for, like, making him turn visible. That's the problem. God damn it, this fight is not going at all like what it should. God damn it.
Okay. Scott is 23 in the movie.
Right.
So 23 in the books and 22 in the film.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, they've kind of aged him down a little bit to make it a bit acceptable.
Right,
But,
it's one of those age gap things. I get it.
yeah.
Still doesn't change like what the source is trying to say about that. Not fucking cool.
Yeah, it's like, dude, just because you can doesn't follow that you should.
Yeah, and that obviously makes it even more worse when he finally does find a girl that is of legal age, but does not break it off with the previous one in time, and it's like, you are the salt of the earth. Why, thank you. I'm sorry, I meant scum of the earth. Why, thank you.
Yeah, she's meant to be 24.
Yeah. Which with that line, with the exchange I said, I think we could also agree, Kim Pine, best girl.
Oh.
Drummer chick, the best. And she's got the best attitude.
Her and Roxy are my two favorites in the series.
Yeah.
Just because they are so done with Scott shit.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, no, fuck you, you are a dick.
Yeah. And then, of course, you get people who are so done with Scott shit that they kind of go to, like, the other end of just being kind of malicious. Like, Envy. Envy Adams.
Again, kind of has it coming. I'm not going to shed any tears.
Well, yeah. I mean, and really, it's like that third volume, that may or may not be my favorite in the series overall, only just because of how much, like, yes, it's kind of established who Scott is as a person and, like, the fuck-ups he's done, but it's also the sort of thing where, like, even when Envy is doing the sort of things to just mentally torture Scott with her coming back and having Todd Ingram as her boyfriend, is like, it still isn't any better. This does not feel like it is the most justified, like, reaction to his shit.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, well, that's not cool, but let's just wait a while and see where it goes.
Yeah, and then it just ends with, like, Envy and Ramona being pissed at each other. They're like, all right, fuck you, bitch. I'm gonna beat your skull in with a hammer.
Because that's a perfectly acceptable way of dealing with your. Oh no, wait, no, it's not.
No, yeah, just gonna beat your ass back to Montreal. I mean, the fact she's from Montreal, I think, probably says it all, if we're being honest. Or maybe not.
Right.
Oh wait, that's right. The game, the story takes place in Toronto. They're not any better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say that, like, that definitely wins her a lot of fans with the indie crowd to begin with.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, you know, like, Montreal and Toronto is
Oh
like
god,
the Seattle of the weird music. Oh dear. That's
Yeah.
not good.
Not good. Let's hope I can still survive and, like, deal enough damage as is. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do any, like, reaction commands or things like that. This is real rough. Please drain faster, please. Oh god. Wait.
Can't remember as well. You can't kill a boss because you don't have a proper combo finisher, do you?
You can't. And you also can't do reaction commands.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I still got Mickey to help.
Hey!
I think after we finish this boss, this is definitely going to be the end of the stream. I'm definitely feeling the fatigue, just trying to get through all this. Ow.
I think
Ow.
once you've fought a boss like 4 or more times in a row, then maybe time to step back.
Yeah. I do know that a lot of things in critical mode definitely gets easier as you get further in, just because you keep getting more options, more things to boost your attack power. You get the limit form, which, you know, despite making you look like Kingdom Hearts 1 Sora in the outfit, like, those abilities you get are godlike.
Yeah, the difficulty for this is like a really weird bell curve.
Yeah. It's like, it's very hard in the beginning, peters out once you get to, like, the end of the normal game, and then it shoots right back up for the post.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with, honestly. There you go. Yeah.
Hey.
We did not get the step vault reaction command, but who cares? I've clearly missed the reaction command on other bosses before.
Yeah.
So we did it. We have, for the time being, resolved some of Belle and Beast's relationship issues, I guess, because that's all we're good for in this game.
Yeah, the weird thing is that we went through the whole like all the stuff in the first game was arguably the only Disney stuff that
Hey, wait a
wasn't a
minute.
direct
Is the
adaptation
ship
of
moving
the
all on its
actual
own?
story.
Yup, looks
Yeah.
like we're
And
headed
then
toward
with
Hollow
this
Bastion.
one, it's like, it kind of falls in the time gap, so it's still not an adaptation, but
It's so weird, and it always
I
gets
wonder
back
what's
to the
up.
fact that like I never really liked how Disney's idea of crossovers is to literally feature multiple series but segregate them entirely.
mm,
It never does the thing I always want, which is the Super Robot Wars method.
right.
But anyway, I think we're gonna do this quickly because I forgot after you beat 2 worlds, you get pulled back to get introduced to this Winnie the Pooh shit.
Yeah, launch that fucking bear. Just the swing one that you do first, isn't it?
No, you actually get introduced to Pooh suddenly becoming an amnesiac.
Because I remember what this
I
is the one
wonder
with
if
like
Pooh's
the honey collecting mini games, and the one where Tigger's jumping all over the place on the vegetables.
The one I remember most is where you have to like lead a bunch of cowards through a dark cave.
See, I don't remember that one.
That's in this game.
Oh god.
Yeah, and the worst part is they hide treasure chests in there, and you can only get them when you activate like the mini game. You can't even explore it normally.
Yeah, I did not do the 100% treasure chests because I don't hate myself that much.
I mean,
I do. Just
I mean,
not the best.
I mean, you could do it just fine. You just have a walkthrough up at all times. It's at least nice that, like, when you open a treasure chest, you know, it actually tells you in your journal, like, which one on the grid you have opened. So that helps.
Oh yeah, that was. I'm glad that was one of the
Hey, Pooh
few
Bear,
things
how you
they
doing?
kept
Finding
between
enough honey
2 and 3.
lately?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I'm actually gonna let this play just because I
Oh,
like the
Mr.
effect of the
Walker,
cutscene at the
nice.
end,
Now
in
let's
which the
exercise.
reality completely
Would you
rejects
like to
Sora.
join me, Sora?
Sure, I'm game.
Hmm?
Huh?
Yeah, for a second
Get
there, I
out.
was like, did the game glitch?
Yeah, it just, like, ejects him right out of the book. Like, fuck you, you don't belong here. Yes.
Did I just get yeeted out of Winnie the Pooh?
I mean, I guess that's better than getting yeeted through multiple doors in Monsters, Inc.
True.
That ending to that world in KH2 is like one of the funniest things ever. It's like you want to solve a problem, you want to solve a Kingdom Hearts problem, and you're in a Disney world like that. You just chuck through a door, chuck the door through another door, chuck that door through another door again, and then another door, and then put it through the wood chipper.
It's like, how many problems would be solved in the Kingdom Hearts world if they just involved a wood chipper?
It's so funny to me just how, like, from what I'd see, like, in Kingdom Hearts 3, like, I feel like the best worlds really are the ones based on Pixar, if only because they have the most hilarious moments. The one I just described, and the one where Woody just talks mad shit to young Xehanort about how he's just, like, such a lonely piece of garbage. It's like,
So
I bet you
those-
didn't have friends growing up, did you, fucker?
I'm so glad you're.
Well, no, but I don't see how that's remotely relevant to the point. I have
Yeah.
12 other friends, and they're all me. So fuck your shit, puppet boy.
Oh, that's...
It's like that's a special kind of lonely, and you don't get it, and that's just delightful.
Yeah, it's like, before the game came out, I was desperately hoping that somewhere in the Toy Story world, there would have just been, like, a moment. I think it was something that, like, a piece of fan art, like, made as part of the joke, where Sora would try to explain things about what's going on, but Woody would instead just respond by yelling back, "You are a toy!" But what they ended up doing at the end of that, I think, was way better. Because Woody, just because, like, that's a Tom Hanks character, even though he wasn't voiced by Tom Hanks in the game, that is clearly the
Voiced by
type
his
of things
brother.
I would expect to hear from a character that is designed for the voice of Tom Hanks. He seems like the
Yeah.
kind of person that really, like, lays the ground for, like, really stern talking tos.
Just being like,
Yeah.
okay, you do realize what you like. have you listened to what you're saying, and do you realize how crazy it sounds?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think you need to deal with that first.
Yeah. Get help. See a doctor.
Like, if it's true, okay, we can deal with that. But I'm gonna err on the side that says that you've probably stopped taking your medication and you need to start immediately.
Yeah. Pretty
And
much.
to be fair, yeah, it sounds pretty weird when you like try and explain any 2 or 3 related plot points in Kingdom Hearts. You sound like a mental.
Yeah. It's the sort of thing where every time I see how deep the rabbit hole goes, I think I've mentioned this on stream before or elsewhere, but I always go, like, it gives me pause and makes me go, you know what? Maybe I've been too hard on Kojima all this time. They're both pretty bad, but you get inundated to one person's bullshit long enough that when you start seeing the other, you think, oh, it's a weird, bizarro version of the grass is always greener. Except in a weird case, it's more like the shit's always smellier.
Yeah, except Kingdom Hearts also deals with clones.
Yeah,
Like,
but I'll still
3
give
of them.
clones and time travel, which actually Metal Gear doesn't deal with. So I guess that's how it stays winning.
Doesn't deal with yet.
Fuck, you're right.
Because remember, Kojima has no business with Konami anymore, so they're free to do whatever the fuck they want.
Wait, hold on. Wasn't there like some weird time travel shenanigans as part of Metal Gear Survive?
Yes, there was actually.
Okay, then I
That's
rescind my
right.
statement. Okay, both are garbage.
Because people like get pulled into the alternate dimension, like seemingly at random, and one of them is pulled in as a child.
God, that's
And
right.
Gets deposited back to his point in time, and is one of the main characters as an adult. Fuck.
It's so
And
ridiculous.
there's nothing that directly contradicts Survive, as I remember, as being part of the canon. So
Well, yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
it's only non-canon because people don't want it to be.
Frankly, we need more of that in games, if we're being honest. Just
I mean, I'm totally happy with more games having like wacky canon until proven otherwise stuff, because
yeah.
too many franchises too straight-faced.
Yeah, it's like the real thing that you should be caring more about when like talking about this sort of stuff in canon is like it should be less about the sanctity of canon. It should be the sanctity of tone. You know?
Yeah.
Like, is what you're presenting true to what these characters would do in a what-if scenario? Like, that's the whole reason why they were able to make, like, nearly, like, 24 Dragon Ball Z movies before they finally decided to make them canon. Or at least a couple of them canon.
It's the argument of canon versus consistency. You know?
Yeah.
Like, people are more concerned with where in the timeline does this take place, and less about, is this a good story that reflects the characters well, and is everyone acting sanely, the way they would in any other story.
Mhm.
And for my money, consistency is way more important.
I
Because
would agree.
We've all seen, read, played way too many things with a really cool plot or a really cool story ruined by characters acting stupidly for the sake of, like, way too many times there'll be something where it's like, why are the characters acting this way? Oh, because if they don't, the plot doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And that is way worse than working out where in the timeline this. Who cares?
Yeah, that's always the big prequel problem.
Yeah. And don't get me started on prequels, or we will be here the rest of the night.
Yeah. Talk about all
Hey,
sorts of
look at
stuff.
Look at that. All the important characters somehow knew each other years before the current events. What are the odds? Looking at you, Star Wars. Looking at you.
Yep. Clearly. Yeah, it's like, yeah, they're could clearly talk about all manner of stuff. In fact, we already have. We covered Get a Robo. We talked way more about Scott Pilgrim than I think most people do, like, at a critical, like, objective light.
way more than people should, because that series is problematic.
It's yeah, well, yeah, it's like the things it's presenting about its characters are very much that. It's still worth a read, but only if you have like the actual brain cells to like parse what it's presenting as bad and like not actually like glorifying it.
That, like,
Which
I
is
feel that
difficult for a lot of people, or even a lot of people that make these sort of things, because they fail at that.
like I know a lot of people will consider it to be snobbery, but I feel like with some things, you like if you're gonna start dissecting it, there should be a little sign, a little arrow that says your critical skills must be this great in order to engage with the deeper text.
Yeah, it's like a speech check in like in an RPG.
Yeah, it's like if you're not rolling above a 50, then just appreciate it at face value.
Mm-hmm.
Because way too many people offer, theories they think are, really insightful, and it's like you're just really seeing what you want to see in this.
God, that would actually be like a funny running gag in a Western RPG. If you actually had like a running side quest where it's like you have to read books and actually discuss with them with other people critically, and then like if you're trying to bullshit your way through it with like a low int stat, and it's just coming up with like whatever it is, and it's like, and you see, and you also do like the Fallout or New Vegas thing. I think it was in New Vegas where it's like you clearly do not have the prerequisite like stats in order to make this work, but you could still try anyway, and it will fail.
New Vegas has some really good skill checks if you have high luck.
Yeah.
There's one where you need to perform surgery on Caesar himself.
Oh.
And if you got 10 luck, then despite the fact you don't meet any of the other requirements, you perform it correctly, and it's a successful operation. And one of the other characters turns to you and goes, "How the hell did you do that?" And the only response is, "I have no idea."
Luck builds / idiot savants are things that really need to be more common in RPGs. It was literally the best part of the Outer Worlds, and I really wish that like the other parts of the games were able to be as strong as playing it that way was.
I would just love a game where the primary mechanic is your character is completely unprepared for anything and is just blatantly winging it, and everyone's like, well, he sounds like he knows what he's doing, so trust him for now. Meanwhile, he's just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Please, can I just get an adult with a plan? Even a concept.
Or have an action game where the main character is trying to come up as like a cool action dude, yet he's just a bumbling oaf that like trips up every cool thing at the last possible step.
Have you seen Daily Lives of High School Boys?
I recall seeing one episode of it, I think back around when it was new. Yeah, I never got around to seeing the rest of it, but what I saw was pretty fucking funny.
Because there's a running joke, and the characters keep finding themselves on the riverbank at sunset.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this girl who's desperately trying to engineer a situation like from her mangas and her animes.
Yeah.
And they're constantly giving like cool badass one-liners that play into it, and inside they're like, oh my god, what am I doing? Oh Jesus, I've just made it worse. please just get me out of here. But externally they're like, yes, the cruel wind is blowing through the town. Why did I say that? Oh fuck! I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna throw myself in the river. Oh, I don't deserve to live.
Yeah.
There needs to be more games like that, where the main character's bluff, like, he's got a natural 20 on all his bluff checks, but internally he's like, I just made this.
Yeah. And then your rival character is just Sakamoto from Haven't You Heard I'm Sakamoto?
Who is that perfect?
Yeah, he is that perfect, and like you just have a whole series of quests in which you're just trying to one-up him and like find chips in his armor. But like the whole point is that you're not actually supposed to succeed. You're supposed to try and see like how good are your bluff checks that you can recover from whatever like feat of embarrassment you just engaged with.
He's just like, I see, you are truly a worthy adversary, and you're just like, no! Can't you see I'm a fraud? Get me out of here!
Yeah.
Like, you actually know what you're doing.
I'm not the Messiah!
The world would be so much better if you just drowned me here and now and took over.
And then it like goes down a dark route in which the bad ending is just the life of Brian.
Oh.
it proceeds further from your character just trying to bluff through being a cool action hero until you stumble across a cult that sees you as their messiah, and you keep trying to
say, like...
and everything you do to try to tell them no, I'm not, just further proves their own stupid belief, and you can't escape.
I was gonna say there needs to be a path where it's like somehow you just accidentally stumble your way into becoming the leader of a cult, and you're like, clearly some mistakes have been made.
Yeah.
So, anyone else know what they're doing?
Man.
No? Right, we're fucked.
Man, I would want to like commission this concept to like an indie RPG dev right now if I could.
Just sort of like
give it to the person that to the people behind Cthulhu Saves the World or something. I feel like that would be right up their alley.
Like Shinrikyo for dickheads.
Yeah. Yes.
Bigger ones, I should say. You're like if you accidentally, like, your character has to perform a dexterity check, otherwise they spill like whatever they're eating, and then one of the followers comes along and is like, "It's a sign." It's like, yeah, it's a sign on the side. It doesn't have table manners.
Oh god. Whew, this was a good 3+ hours of this nonsense. I noticed we did a whole lot less of the recontextualizing what happened as things went on because, I mean, tangents like these, they're really our specialty. And honestly, what else can you really come up with meaningfully about the story of Kingdom Hearts once you get to the Disney worlds? The actual meaty stuff never really happens until you're either in the 3 original places. Yeah,
it's basically the start, the middle, and the end of the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I guess Disney Castle as well, maybe, I guess, to an extent, just because we have Donald and Goofy with us.
Yeah, everything else, though, it's like, have you seen this Disney movie? Cool. Yeah. Just put in some dude with a black trench coat.
Yeah.
That's the world. That's literally all there is to it.
God, I'm being reminded now. I can't wait till we get to Disney Castle. And it's less because of the castle, but because of the place that we go to that's in Disney Castle.
Yes! The flashback world!
It's literally, like, the most genius stylistic thing that they ever did in this series. Just go into a black and white world and redraw Sora to be so much closer to an Osamu Tezuka character.
Yeah, and just everyone in that sort of rubber hose style.
Yeah.
It's just oddly wholesome. Like, it's just cute.
It really is. We'll see that maybe next time. Because I know, like, the next Wednesday we'll obviously be going straight to Hercules World, a series staple, even up to Kingdom Hearts 2.9. Yes, I remember that gag that they do with the title.
That got me, I will admit. I was like, seriously? Are you kidding me with this shit?
Yeah, that got me too, and I was, like, stuck in that very precarious spot where I was like, that is genius, and this is so goddamn stupid, I fucking hate you. But after Hercules World, that we'll definitely get back. We'll finally get to go to Disney World. Land, town, castle, whatever you call it.
The Enchanted Chateau.
Something like that.
Then
the Mickey Mouse theme or whatever it is. And with like the music playing that I know it's like, I forget the name of it because this is how broken my brain is. But like the music that plays when you're in Disney Castle, I immediately just think of like this one song by Captain Jack that was featured in DDR Together Forever, where it's like it uses that same beat, but obviously the lyrics are different. Or it just goes.
I think it's just the Mickey Mouse Club March. It's called.
Yeah, that's what it's like. It uses like the main like tone of like that's in the Mickey Mouse Club March in a Captain Jack song. But instead of spelling out Mickey Mouse, it goes CAPTAINJACK.
And
It's
that's
actually
why you
real
don't let
freaking
your kids
catchy.
play DDR. That stuff will rot your brain.
This little rhythm game meme where it's just like the lady on the left side, like talking to like the big like bearded Chad looking dude on the right, but the dude on the right his face is just replaced with all these Bimani rhythm games, and so she's like thank you for coming into my life, dude. I have literally ruined your taste in music. Wouldn't want it any other way though.
My work here is done. But you didn't do anything. Ruined your taste in music, didn't I?
Yeah. Also, fuck Osu. And there we go. We have perfectly summarized the average Bimani fan. Thank you and good night. Yeah. So, look forward to the to this streaming again on Wednesday. But at least until then, also look forward to me continuing to get through the final handheld Castlevania game, Order of Ecclesia, because I'm so close to getting the Ecovanias out of the way. Which, although, as I noted when I played through it at the start of it on Monday, I feel I'm almost straining to even call that game an Ecovania, because it is so structurally different.
Way too many liberties with the regular format to really... It feels like its own thing.
It feels like an Igarashi's take on Simon's Quest.
Yeah.
Like, I got to, like, one of the early levels where, like, you're going through a forest, and it's just a straight line. And I was starting to have inklings about that when I got to the village, and I was like, this village hub with, like, the people you can talk to, this is giving me some serious Simon's Quest vibes. And then I got to the forest, which you have to go to in order to get to one of the later areas, and I saw, like, what the map was, and I was like, oh my god, they did just do Simon's Quest again, son of a bitch.
I just remember when I first played it, looking at the map for, like, the first proper area and being like, huh, that says it's already at, like, 42%.
Yeah.
I'm feeling suspicious and nervous in equal measure.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. I at least know for sure I'll have enough time to get through that game before No More Heroes 3 comes out. And I'll have a whole lot of other things to start working on for streams, because I'm done. I finished the most recent LP, but the last update for Steel Battalion went up literally this morning before we started. I can now just focus on scheduling out streams for the future. Hopefully get back to writing doing retro write-ups for my blog, which I'm trying to do one for Zangeki no Regan Leave, but it's been proving very difficult because I have no idea what to narrow it down on. Like, I want to talk, part of me wants to talk about how, like its similarities and yet how it deviates from the Earth Defense Force formula, especially with how it came out pre-EDF 2025, which I feel was where the series started to get some really significant changes, like with having 4 classes and then 5's other quality of life improvements. But then there's also part of me where it's like, no, I just want to write in depth about how amazing all these weapons are and how they evolve and, like, manage to cram in weird, different, unique effects you never realized the further you go down this ginormous upgrade tree. I'm still racking my head trying to figure out how to make it work. I'm sure I will. I got until September.
I mean, standard advice is write everything down and then cut back, because it's easier to take away than to add.
Yeah, but usually when the way I go about cutting and, like, cutting back is, it's more like a rewrite, because once I see everything that I've fully written down and go, right, this needs to be truncated, and by truncated I mean do a full page 1 rewrite so that it actually makes sense, because it's going to look like it's very clumsily spliced together the moment I cut out a single paragraph.
Yeah,
so,
I know that feeling.
Yeah, but hey, I mean, it's a better alternative than doing multi-hour, quote, video essays that feel like they go for way too long.
I mean, on the one hand, I like watching those because, it's always interesting to see someone go really in-depth in a game. On the other hand, the people that tend to do those tend to be some of the most annoying jackasses on the planet, and I kind of makes me want to hate them.
Yeah, it's like I got nothing against Noah Calvo Gervais just because I feel like he at least keeps like the title of his videos like consistent and like not pretentious. Whereas it's all the others, like you say, where like they try and come up with like some witty or deep title that is like, dude, you're trying to oversell a quote in-depth analysis of a Ratchet and Clank game. Who fucking cares? And I like Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, just like don't bother trying to discuss the deeper lore details. Just give us an overview of the game. It is interesting and possible.
And the biggest red flag is when you see like the title and they use the word masterclass in it at any point, and it's like you don't know what you're fucking talking about.
Or anything with the word explained.
Or subtext.
Ugh. No,
But also, I think like the bigger problem I have really is something that I feel like the reason why those kind of video essays go on for as long as they are and like overwrought is because I feel like it's a result of like old like English paper requirements you had to adhere to like in school, be it like high school or like when you got to college and had to do like term papers and whatnot, where it's like they always have like a word or length requirement. And I always have a problem with that because depending on certain subjects, if you feel like you could explain them well, sometimes you can't get X amount of words out of a subject without feeling like you are straining things just to meet a pointless quota. And I feel like that attitude is part of like why those video essays are the way they are. They feel like they have to be as long as humanly possible because they think that's the only way they're worth anything. Whereas I do my blog writings, I try and keep them to between 3 to 5 pages in a word processor with like the default 1-inch margins.
I mean, it's also the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah, that's also probably like the other
like,
part.
Longer video equals better. And that's definitely fucked up a lot of otherwise okay videos, where like you don't need to spend 20-30 minutes on a basic topic when you could just do it in 5, but that doesn't get people paid, and that doesn't get you.
Which also feels almost counterproductive because I imagine that like another big part of the revenue would be like how much videos you're able to get up to even like make that money to begin with. Yeah. So it seems like a weird balancing act that benefits no one because YouTube is a mess.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Really, at some point we should just sort of burn everything down and
start our own video hosting site with blackjack and hookers. In fact, forget the video website.
Screw the whole damn thing.
Actually, maybe just like screw everything except the video website, because even with people slowly getting more and more vaccinated, I still would not trust going to any place that has blackjack and hookers. That's just me.
I'm just barricading the door for the inevitable collapse of society, but
same.
You know, I tend to look on the positive side of things.
Yeah, I still keep to like my punk mentality of the world is fucked and I'm pissed about it. Partially my ska mentality of the world is fucked. I have a trumpet.
Well, eventually everything will collapse, and then we'll look at the ashes and have to pick them up, pick it 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 up.
Here I am.
No, none of that.
No. That's all played out. Let's see. Something else. Shit, I'm trying to decide on a real Big Fish song, but I got too many to choose from.
It's not so bad being trendy. Everyone that looks like me is my friend. Please don't hate me because I'm trendy. Oh wait, no, I'm not.
No. It's the impression that I get.
Hey!
Yeah.
I hate that song.
You hate it?
Familiarity breeds contempt.
Oh, that's fair. I mean, for what it's worth, it's not even my favorite Boss Tone song. I actually have more of a personal fondness for the Rascal King. But yeah. Otherwise, I get you. The impression that I get is definitely like the most overplayed of like the stuff they got.
I think, if anything, I'm just more surprised that there is more than one Mighty Mighty Boss Tone song.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, that's whatever. I appreciate good ska punk when I come across it. We done? I think we're done.
We done.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because I was clearly trying to wind down several minutes ago, and I was also saying, like, look forward to the next few streams, but we just can't stop ourselves.
There is a point in which we should clearly have stopped, but let's just keep going and see what happens.
Yep. the same, with that same expression. Alright, yeah. Yeah. Everyone have a good day, night, wherever you are in the whole fucking world.
Catch you later.
Later.
Peace.
There we go, we did the reverse this time.
Hey.